Are you listening? Damn.
And the ball is loose. Third and 4.
Welcome to another edition of the AFC North Talk presented by True Classic. Upgrade your shirt game with True Classic. Shout out to everybody that is here. Thank you for everybody who's watching. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that like very quickly. So a quick and easy way to support. And if you're watching the replay, comments are also another way to help us. And I go especially the next day and read all the comments as much as I can, and the following day I try as well. I know the guys do as well. So we appreciate all those comments. There was some news before we go to the game. Before we go to the Bengals-Bills game, there was some news, right? We talk about OC, well, we talk about coordinators here throughout, right? Obviously, the Bengals still playing, so they there's no movement in the Bengals, right? They might lose coordinators. Somebody might hire them to, so they can go in an upper position.
I think that's passed. I mean, if they were going to get interviewed, they would have been interviewed by now.
Fair.
Yeah.
But the other three teams, there's some movement. Browns hire James Schwartz, right? You have a new DC.
Not Brian Flores.
And then the Steelers come and break the news, Tony.
Yeah.
You're still part of the Canadian crew.
We never left, boys. We never left. Come on. Oh,
why does that hat look like it's been crumpled up and thrown in the garbage?
What do you mean? No, well, listen, it's Canadian, so it's kind of shitty.
It feels like the hat's taking a beating.
Yeah. Look, Steeler fans are having a great week. The thing I like about Steeler fans, they're not overreacting to this at all. It's been very sensible. There hasn't been a lot of, screaming and yelling and overreaction in Pittsburgh. It's just been, hey, you know what? Standard is the standard. He's got to improve next year, but consistency is why this team wins. It's been a complete dumpster fire on Steelers Twitter for the last week. Look, I'm not happy about the move. Obviously, if you guys have heard me here, not a huge fan of Mr. Canada's work. Even though coming into the year, coming into last season, I got myself hyped up for it. Yeah. No, I mean, I built it up. Obviously has not lived up to the potential that I thought he had. But I think if you watch the Steelers season and you understand how Tomlin and the Steelers work, it was pretty clear. Like, they don't fire coaches anyway. You're certainly not going to fire a coach given the success that the Steelers had down the stretch, and not just wins and losses. I know the problem I have with the conversation about Canada is that people, we're doing this kind of like willful ignorance thing where we say, well, they went from 16 points a game to 20 points a game. Don't tell me that that's real offensive progress, and we just ignore everything underneath it, right? Like, I understand they didn't score points in the second half of the year. I will agree with that. But every other underlying statistic about the Steelers in the second half of the year was light and day from where they were in the first half of the year. So, at the end of the day, I mean, you got to trust how the Steelers do business. I mean, this is what Tomlin does. Like I said, they don't fire coaches. The worry is, though, man, this is gonna be like next year. If Tomlin screws this up and this does not work, and it's the same old Canada offense next year, and you've now imagine Kenny does make a leap, but you're still running the same crap. You're still averaging, let's say it goes up to 23 points a game or something, still not great. And now you have to change OCs in year 3 of Kenny. And you got to go through a new offense. Like, that's a really, that's really bad, especially given that.
Fire Tomlin.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say fire Tomlin.
No.
I wouldn't go that far, right? But it is, look, I said this on the Patreon yesterday. I'll say it today. It's a little early to say this, but it is potentially true. The Steelers are entering a window here, right? If they nailed the Kenny pick, if Kenny's good, then Super Bowl window's open right now, right? I mean, this is when it's open the widest, right? I mean, I agree with Burrow, right? The window is the whole quarterback's career, but really it's until he signs that contract. So here we are, Steeler fans, right? I mean, if they nailed the Kenny pick, then you don't want to be wasting years of like, well, let me figure out if Matt, maybe Matt Canada could be that guy, right? And I think that's why I think that's why Steelers fans are upset today. Is you wanted more urgency right now. You wanted, hey, I don't want to just like maybe the Canada thing will work itself out. I want to go out there and get a guy who I can trust. Let's open this thing up. Let's score some points offensively. Let's figure out what Kenny is. Instead, we're going to live in a world where hopefully they open it up. Hopefully Canada does X, Y, and Z different. Hopefully, we're going to go back into like year 3 of like, well, maybe this year we get the real Canada offense. And I think that's why there's so much trepidation in Pittsburgh right now.
I still don't know what the Matt Canada offense is. I've been like looking around, asking, trying to figure out what it is.
I know what it is. It's
whatever you
score
want it to be.
low amounts of points for 3 quarters and then get one drive at the end of the game to either tie or take like a 3-point lead.
Well, that's Mike Tomlin football, not Mike. Mike
it.
Tomlin. That's Mike Tomlin football.
The Mike Tomlin is the offense.
Well, I mean, there's that part of this too, which is, you only fire your OC, right? You fire your OC because you feel like your OC didn't live up to your expectations, right? One of the things that I've always talked about with the Canada thing is, look, how much of Canada's offense and the conservatism that he calls plays with is an edict from Tomlin himself, right? And not just because, Canada wants to be the super conservative offense. It's Tomlin wants this offense to be conservative, and that's why it is the way it is, right? And that's why he didn't get fired, because he ran the offense that Tomlin wanted. The question is going to be now going into year 3, and especially year 2 of Kenny in this young offense. Are you going to open it up? Are you going to continue playing this style of like, and I guess you can there's the argument for being the Zag team. There's arguments doing that. Like, let's be a defense team. Let's play 90s style football in 2020. I don't like that. But I guess, there's the argument to be made that you could be that team.
Do you think it stems from them not wanting to change coordinators for Kenny, just like because they feel like that would be too fast? I mean, he's just was a rookie last year. If you change into a different offensive coordinator, it's a brand new system. Like, are they trying to give Kenny stability, or is it? I think it's more that than them like actually feeling confident in Matt Canada, right?
I mean, I'm trying to think back to the time when, with Tomlin in the early OCs that he had, right? I mean, they went from, it was basically, here's how it went with Tomlin. He let Arians be the OC until his contract expired, then changed it. Then he let Haley go out for his entire contract and then bailed on him. And then same thing with Fichtner, and now he's doing the same thing with Canada. So like, it's basically just it's the Tomlin MO of like, I'm going to let you play your contract out. And then when that, if it's not working by the end, we're done here. As far as Kenny being early on, I'm sure that did play something into it. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's like, hey, no need to rock the boat right now. Like, let's let this thing play itself out fully before we just change it. I mean, that's the
Steeler way. That's the Steeler
exactly. That's the Steeler way entirely, which is never make a sudden move, no sudden movements here, right? We believe that this thing is going to work out, and we're going to let that thing play itself all the way out before we bail on it. Unless your name is Chase Claypool, in which case we'll trade you for the 32nd overall pick, baby.
I still, I mean, Bears. Oh, Bears.
I love them.
Okay. That being said, then another team got another news, and oh my God, Ravens Twitter on the other hand.
Wait. Can we talk about the Kenny Pickett window?
Yeah, sure. I already said.
Is this a champion? Like, be real.
Oh,
be for real right now. Is this a championship window with Kenny Pickett, or is this a window to go 11-5 and maybe win a playoff game?
Well, I mean, obviously that's more likely. But what I'm saying is, you just went 9-8 with a rookie Kenny Pickett, and you didn't have TJ Watt for half the year. If Kenny Pickett makes any leap in year 2, and this offense opens itself up, I mean, again, I'm not sitting here telling you that they're going to go outscore Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen in back-to-back games. Certainly not with Matt Canada at the helm. But like this, look, let's say more in a generic sense. This is the generic window of a rookie quarterback. You have a rookie. He looks good enough in year 1 that you feel like we're going to go with this guy. He's our guy. Okay, then this is your window. The first 4 years are it. Once you start hitting year 5 and forward, it's still a window, but it's a little tighter now because, as Sonny will point out with his spreadsheet
heart of hearts, Tony.
Yeah.
In your heart of hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Would you rather?
My heart of hearts, we are going to win the next 3 Super Bowls, but I'll let you finish your question.
Okay, your heart of hearts. Would you rather, let's say Kenny Pickett has really good year next year. You go about 10-11 wins.
Yeah.
You maybe make it to the playoffs, maybe win a game. Or
we can't make the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 6 years joke?
Yeah, you get that one off the board, right? That was the benefit of Baker Mayfield for the Browns, right? We got the playoff jokes out the way, right? Or would you like to have a chance at Drake May or Caleb Williams?
Would I like to go back to the well? No, I don't want to go back to the well because
You don't want to go back. You'd rather stick it out with Kenny Pickett. Like, I'm not being a troll here. I'm like asking a legit question.
No, yeah. At this point, no. I mean, at this point, like, you got to be just all in on Kenny. I mean, again, what Kenny Pickett.
So if Caleb Williams or Drake May, if they both turn out to be what they look like, they're going to be. You're not going to look back at that and think maybe sticking with Kenny Pickett might not have been the best thing.
No, because you'll never have the chance. I mean, it's like I guess what you're saying is, would you rather the Steelers tank in the next 2 years? But this is completely it's unrealistic in both senses, right? It's like, do I think Kenny Pickett's going to win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years? Okay, probably not. But never know. But do I think? But at the same token, like, I don't think the Steelers are going to tank either. So
yeah,
it's like
it's the Dalton experience, man. It's Kenny Pickett's going to be just good enough for you guys to make the playoffs, or you're never going to have a top 10 pick with Kenny Pickett because
with Mike.
Well, I mean, like with Mike Tomlin, are you ever going to? I think the question is, are you going to have a top 10 pick with Mike Tomlin? So like is Kenny Pickett the one that's really raising the floor here?
Well, again, if Kenny Pickett maintains the one attribute that we saw from him that was good, which is like that clutch factor at the end of games, right? I mean, if Kenny Pickett stays that clutch, if he gets a clutch gene, okay, that's not, we exit out of the realm of the Andy Dalton, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins experience. We get into some other thing, which is like, we end up in a weird
experience, though. It's like,
show me Kirk Cousins being clutch. I mean, I literally just
whoa! You're talking about the season leader, Tony. You're talking about the season leader in game-winning drives.
Tony, you got to ask Sonny about Andy Dalton being clutch. You got to ask him about 4th and 12.
Look, those dudes be clutching the regular season at 1 o'clock when nobody's watching.
That wasn't prime time. Hold on, that wasn't prime time. Was that in Baltimore? That was a great play.
That was in Baltimore.
Baby,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm just, I feel like Kenny Pickett's limitations will come up against like better teams, but we'll see what happens with Kenny. Like, Kenny's going to be an interesting prospect to look at. It's just,
Hold on. I have a question. How many points did the Bengals offense score last week?
They didn't score that many. What, 24?
No.
The offense.
17.
Oh, 17. Yeah, because Sam Hubbard.
Was that game in Baltimore or was that game in Cincinnati?
In Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Against the best defense in the AFC.
Against best defense in the AFC.
I know we ain't making a comp to the Bengals offense.
So how many points did the Kenny Pickett score against that same Ravens defense in Baltimore in prime time? 16? Oh my goodness gracious. By EPA per play, by the way. By EPA per play. One of my favorite EPA per play stats. The Steelers were 4th in offensive EPA in the second half of the year. The Bengals? 8. 7. I'm not saying that Kenny Pickett's better than Joe Burrow. Okay, I'm not going to say that on this podcast.
Well, Tony, it's interesting you brought that up.
That would be crazy.
It's interesting you brought that up. Actually,
statistically speaking, the Steelers are a better offense than the Bengals. That's what
I would say. It's interesting you brought that up. No, because Jacoby Brissett put up 20 on the Ravens.
Kenny Pickett did compare himself to Joe Burrow, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Tony,
he said that's right. In the interviews, he's been doing the media rounds, by the way.
Yeah,
love it. Go ahead.
All I'm going to say is Jacoby Brissett put up 20 on that same Ravens defense. So
a different defense. It's a different defense.
Yeah. They had Roquan.
But that was
that was in October.
That was Watson.
Is Jacoby under contract still?
No. Jacoby
didn't play against Rowe.
Yeah, he did. That was in late October. Y'all had Rowe by then. 20 points. Respect the GOAT. That's all I'm saying.
Just don't forget week 18 happened, guys. Just don't forget about week 18 as well.
So you're saying Jacoby was better than Watson.
Jacoby 7 weeks into an offense was better than Deshaun 6 weeks into an offense. So that's all I'm saying. If Deshaun got to 7 weeks, it would have been magical, but only 6 weeks. So we didn't really get to see it. Everybody knows it turns at week 7.
Q is not saying that Jacoby Brissett was better than Deshaun Watson. Everyone is saying that. Literally every single person on planet.
I mean, this year, Jacoby Brissett was statistically better than Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
That's what happened. He was also statistically better than almost every quarterback in the North except for Joe Burrow. So, that forward. He was like a top 10 quarterback, like top 6 according to PFF. So, like, that's not even a slight. He was he should be in the Pro Bowl. Legitimately should be in the Pro Bowl. Based on his output.
Over Tyler Huntley?
Over Tyler Huntley? Come on.
Yes. If the Ravens had Tyler Huntley last week, you know who not about to lose a QB sneak to win the game? Jacoby Brissett. You telling me you wouldn't have wanted to have Jacoby Brissett last week? Y'all would be in the second round playing the Bills right now. Tell me you don't believe that.
Chiefs. They would play the Chiefs. They would actually play the Chiefs.
Huh?
They would play.
Oh yeah, they would play the Chiefs. All I'm saying, if y'all had the sneak god in there instead of sneak fraud in there, y'all would be somewhere. So yeah, y'all wish y'all had Jacoby Brissett, 6th best quarterback in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. Put some respect on his name.
Is he under contract?
No, he's free agent this year. You know what I mean? So Ravens, y'all better
you
get
guys
on that.
franchise tag him, or how you handling that? We got 2
I don't know.
quarterbacks.
Hey, Ravens better get on that. You know, y'all can't let another top 10 quarterback slip through your fingers.
My goodness, Jacoby Brissett to the Ravens.
Yeah, that'd be dope for them. You know what I mean?
We were talking about this yesterday on the Patreon. We were talking about kind of middle of the road-ish quarterbacks that could go there. We didn't even consider Jacoby.
Yeah, y'all would talk about all the bad ones. You know what I mean? Get you a good one. Get you Jacoby. He gonna put up some good numbers. He gonna go under 500. He is the anti Jimmy Garoppolo.
By the way, Chat is adamant, and I don't know, I haven't looked it up, but Chat is adamant that they did not have Roquan in the game where Jacoby lit him up.
Yeah.
Well, Roquan's not that good anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh boy.
Yeah, everybody know the best linebacker on that team is Pat Queen. Like, let's stop playing. Playing.
Okay, we are definitely going a little far.
Did you see Patrick Queen on that red zone touchdown? They played that man like a fiddle. That was actually abuse. What the Bengals did to Patrick Queen on that, I think it was the first touchdown.
No, Patrick Queen only looked like he got played like a fiddle because he had to make up for Roquan's inefficiencies in coverage, and you know how that is. Now you got to watch Roquan's, man, and then this is not actual analysis. I'm just trolling at this point, y'all. I'm just.
We all
okay.
are, but
let's now.
Everybody know the Ravens' best linebacker is clearly Josh Bynes.
Mr. Practice Squad. So, okay.
I mean, look, 2019 Josh Bynes. We ain't never seen nothing like that. Ain't that right, Ace?
Yes. 2020 Josh Bynes just straight.
With 2019 Josh Bynes, baby, unstoppable.
Elite PFF. That's how I should have known then not to take PFF grade seriously.
You know what I mean?
They had Josh Bynes. Like,
look, if PFF had it say, they would have Josh Bynes and Jacoby Brissett as co-captains of the 3 seed in the AFC. Like, that's how that would be.
Saying that, the Ravens Twitter was different from the Steelers Twitter. They were celebrating.
Oh yeah, of course.
Champagne because Giro's gone. Giro is gone.
Did you pop a champagne? I mean, did you be honest, Sonny? Did you cry a little bit? Did you tear up a little bit? Did you get a little emotional?
No, as I told a couple people that DM me, I told this here, and I told this also to Tony yesterday. I said, like, I've been saying Giro is a problem, not the problem, right? Giro is a problem that we have, but he's not the main thing. What bad things on this offense was happening, but people love to, like, anything that happened, it was Giro's fault. Doesn't matter what it was Giro's fault. That's it. Legit didn't matter. Somebody got hurt because of Giro. Didn't matter what it was, Giro. All right. So Sonny at this point, even if he was good, I'll be like, yo, I'm so tired of this shit. Can he please be let go? Because I'm just done. Like, legit, I'm just done with people complaining. I want him to be gone. And then the following year, whoever comes, we'll see. Right? We will see. It was the same thing with Wink. The year before, Wink was the problem. Didn't matter. In the defense, Wink was the problem. Didn't matter all the injuries. Wink was the problem. Yes, Ace?
So we had just said that, and this is news to me, that the Bengals coordinators hadn't gotten any interviews. Apparently, Brian Callahan interviewed for the Colts head coaching position, offensive coordinator.
They ain't interviewing anybody over there for the Colts.
But he turned it down, I heard. I heard he turned it down. He's coming back. He signed a contract.
No. You're thinking of the Browns guy.
Oh, the Browns got him. Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully he didn't go into his bathroom. That's all I know. Hopefully he didn't go into the Callahan's
What
bathroom.
a crazy dude. Actually, that's the one time I'm ever gonna feel bad for Josh McDaniels. Okay, listen. Sometimes you go to someone's house, you're like, I made a mistake. Like what lunch was a mistake, and now you're gonna be in the bathroom for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, we've all been there. It's not fun.
Wait, what happened?
You didn't hear about that?
You didn't hear about this?
I didn't mean to interrupt Sonny because I know he was.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
But Josh McDaniels, remember when he didn't take that coach job?
Yeah.
Apparently, there was a story that came out that he went over to Josh McDaniels for dinner. His wife, I guess, reportedly said
who went over to Josh McDaniels?
Jim Irsay.
Okay.
And he spent an hour in the bathroom, and it made McDaniel's wife super uncomfortable, and that was the reason he didn't take the job.
The exact quote is he spent an uncomfortable amount of time in the bathroom. Yeah.
with Jim Irsay, he could have been using the bathroom.
Yeah,
he could have been using the bathroom for other reasons. That's all I'm gonna say. Google Jim Irsay and you'll figure out what that reference is about.
Wow.
This is a family show, but all I'm saying is that it is not 100% that he might have been taking a deuce in there.
You're saying he was using the mirror, is what you're saying. You're saying he was using the mirror?
He might have had some money in his pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was smelling the aroma. He was smelling the aroma.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Roma. Anyway, just to finish, now the OC position in Baltimore is open. People are like, "Oh, we're gonna get this guy, we're gonna get that guy." If you're an OC, do you want to come to Baltimore? There's up and downs on it, right? Like if if Lamar would have been signed, then for sure. Because as I was saying, might have been to Tony, not only you have a quarterback that you think is a top in the league, but also that the head coach does not call the plays. So it will give you liberty to call the plays to establish your offense. And then if you look good, if you want to be a head coach, it's a good stepping stone to be a head coach. Like what you don't want if you're an up-and-coming coach, like a QB coach or receiver coach or whatever, is to be under a coach that calls his own plays, because you're not going to get that full credit. I think in Baltimore you could, but the question is right now, because they're starting interviewing people, you want to come to Baltimore if you don't know
Kingsbury to Baltimore, baby. Let's go. Make it happen. Take the flight to where is he? In
Thailand.
Thailand. Get the flight over there and do it, baby. That's what I need in my life.
Kingsbury right now is getting paid handsomely for not doing.
No, he's not trying to actually work.
Yeah, he said, "I'm leaving. Nobody contact me." That's essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
his phone is on do not disturb. Like that man is not trying to work. Like he left at this time for a reason. I'm not doing no interviews. I'm not doing none of this. That man is gonna be. If I were Cliff Kingsbury, it's a great seat for him.
Not doing the dishes, nothing.
Nah, you know what he should do? Like, to be honest with you, he would be great at the halftime show for the new SEC network. Once they get that new deal where they get all the games instead of CBS. Oh yeah. He's gonna be working that halftime show. You know what I mean? They're gonna need somebody there to talk about.
No, he can't because he's a Big 12 guy.
Who cares? He's Cliff Kingsbury. Like, you know what I mean? At some point, like, what you gonna take Lee Corso off the show because he's a Notre Dame guy?
Wait, hold on. Sonny, give me your like top 3 coordinators that you want in Baltimore right now.
Okay.
Realistically.
The main guy I would like is the Georgia OC.
Todd Monken.
Okay, you changed from yesterday's show. Okay,
I said
yesterday's show.
Wait. No,
you're lying, everyone.
I said there were
former Browns offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I said there was 2, right? I said there was 2. I said Byron Leftwich, and I said
Byron Leftwich,
and he
wants to run the air raid. That's what he wants to run. He wants to run the Bruce Arians air raid. That's basically what he wants.
I don't know if you want that, Sonny. Bucks fans did not.
I don't know necessarily an air raid because they ran the ball way too much to be an air raid team.
So, that's because Tom calls the plays, but like. Like they're air raid team, and like Nick Chubb had his most carries and his most rushing yards in an air raid, so they run it in that air raid. Like the Bruce Arians one, they run that in there. Yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of like all the problems the Bengals have. You're gonna start having those issues where it's like you just gonna keep 5 out. You're gonna stay empty sometimes, and you're gonna get some pass rushing issues, but you're gonna spread it out. Lamar in the air raid, be interesting. That would be interesting. I mean, if it is Lamar in the air raid.
What do you make, Sonny, of the idea that Lamar is going to be involved in it? As far as who the new OC would be.
It goes back to, again, this shit needs to be resolved soon, right? Because if Lamar's
his contract, you're saying,
either you sign like. There's nowhere that I think that Lamar comes this year and plays under the tag, right? For me, you either extend it and, okay, cool, we're here, we have him, right, for X amount of years, or you trade him, right? I think how you solve this is, and I said this for a month or 2, I haven't heard anybody in the media saying this, but you tag him exclusively, right? And then you do the Watson thing and say, Lamar, obviously we are 2 apart. I'm going to let you talk to some teams. This is a contract. I'm not pulling it away. This is a contract. If you want it, is there. Well, I'm gonna let you talk to X amount of teams, right? And then you get the teams that are willing to give you the compensation that the Ravens want, and you say, here. Once that happens, if a team and Lamar's like, oh, I will take this contract, the Ravens can say, okay, Lamar, look, I'm willing to give you that. Do you want to stay? You really want to go? And if Lamar says, nah, you didn't give it to me before, I'm taking that contract, then it is what it is, right? I think that is the quickest, less damaging way to approach this, right? Like if the next month you cannot resolve a contract that you're two apart, the quickest way to resolve it is allow him to talk to other teams. You still have the rights, and you might keep him, right? Because he might go out there and be like, you know what, this team that is not a great team is offering me maybe $5 million less than what you're offering me. He might go to Ravens. Ravens are like, oh yeah, for $5 million, per year, I'll do that, right? And they might go, or somebody really might say, you know what, I'm willing to offer you 6 years at $300 million, fully guaranteed, and the Ravens might say, like, you know what?
So we're talking about making this a Watson situation. What do you think the base? Because what happened with that was, hey, the Texans were like, this is what you got to give us to be in this conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's the compensation that you think the Ravens would demand in that situation?
At least 3 first and 2 seconds.
Did we give up 2 seconds? I don't think we gave up 2 seconds.
You gave up 3 first and a second and
a second and a third, I think.
Oh, let me look at the compensation. I don't think we gave up the second. We traded the second in the draft. We didn't give up the second though, because we had it up until the draft.
Yes, check. Well, in the case of Lamar, whatever it was, 3 first and I think 1 or 2 seconds, right?
Yeah,
now,
so the Browns got Watson, a 24 6th round pick, and the Texans got 3 first round picks, and a 4th and a 3rd.
4th and a 3rd. Okay.
Yeah.
In the case of Lamar, it all depends, right? I brought this up. Like, there's 2 teams out there, meaning Seattle and the Lions. They were close to making or made the playoffs. That if they want to upgrade, in theory, 3 firsts for those 2 teams might be enough because both of them, one has the 5th overall and the other has the 6th overall. That's a very high first pick, right? Yeah. So they don't have to give you 3 years of picks. They can say, I'll give you this 2 firsts this year, a first next year, and that's it.
Do you think, are you open to the Seattle Seahawks saying, hey, we can knock the first out of this and give you Geno Smith?
No.
No, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent?
Franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Geno's gonna get the bag. Who's gonna pay Geno Smith? Because he's gotta get paid, right?
No, I'm gonna pay Geno Smith. Somebody's gonna pay him.
It's a reverse Matt Flynn.
Dog,
it's a reverse Matt
no. You know what's about to happen? He's gonna go to the Jets.
Back to the Jets.
I could see the Colts. I mean, Derek Carr versus Geno versus Jimmy G for the Colts.
Well, so the thing is, Lamar, I think if Lamar's out there,
the Colts gonna get Jacoby back.
But this is why I think the Ravens have to resolve this early, right? Because what you want is to get ahead of free agency, because then all the teams are like, oh, we don't have a quarterback yet, right? If you wait until free agency, whoever signs Carr, well, they don't need Lamar because whoever paid Carr, just pay Carr. If Geno gets a deal, whoever paid Geno, that team probably is at least locked for 2 years, let's say with Geno, but you really cannot trade for Lamar. So if you do it pre-free agency, now you create that sense of urgency. Now all the teams that need a quarterback are like, we can get into the Lamar sweepstake, right? This is only, for my Ravens fan, this is only if you cannot agree on a deal, right? If you're 2 apart, you need to do it ahead. You cannot leave it to the summer, because at that point, or before the draft, your amount of teams willing to trade for him just becomes smaller, right? Especially with Derek Carr out there, maybe with Rodgers, right? If Rodgers becomes available, that's 2 quarterbacks that can go to a place, right? And I think the best thing that can happen, again, February, trade negotiating the whole month, right? Mid-January to February. If by the end of February nothing has happened, 1st of March, you need to be like, okay, this is the time. Lamar, I'm going to tag you. I'm also going to allow you to talk to these 5 teams. Check if they will be able to pay you. Come back to us, and if we're still apart from that offer, no hard feelings. We'll let you go so you can get the money you want. We're not going to make you play under the tag. And I think it's the least nuclear, right? I mean, at that point, you're telling Lamar, I understand you don't want to play in the tag. This is how we're going to approach this. And we're going to allow you to get the most money you can. If it's not from us, from another team. And it's
the weird part I think about this is you're letting Lamar pick the offensive coordinator. Like if he's a part of that process and picking the offensive coordinator and he leaves, that's just a weird situation. So shouldn't the Ravens
that's what I was going to say.
Pick their own offensive coordinator, like regardless, because they just don't know?
I was stupid.
He's having input, but like that don't mean he's picking. That just means, hey, Lamar, what do you feel about this? You know what I mean? And then, like, if he likes it, you go, okay, we'll put this in the pile of guys he likes. And if you put it in the pile of guys he doesn't like, I don't think there is like a commitment saying like, hey, we're going to do exactly what Lamar wants here. And like, that also doesn't mean that Lamar is that interested in picking the offensive coordinator too. Like, that report hasn't come out. It's like, oh, Lamar wants saying it. It was just, the Ravens are open to having Lamar have some say in it.
It was a question that was asked, right? And Harbaugh answered it like that. The reality is, they're
going to hire who they want to hire.
Yeah. So I was going to say, it could be as easy as the Ravens go back to Lamar. Hey, Lamar, what type of offense would you prefer to run? And then say, okay, this is the type of offense. Okay, so this is the.
It's like when
but say they do hire a guy that Lamar says nah. That doesn't cause friction between them, where it's like,
well, I mean, like who's really out there? Like, absolutely not. Too like it's kind of like if you go to your son and you like, hey, what do you want to eat, McDonald's or Wendy's? And you're like, you're pretty much just give them two decisions. That's like, okay. And none of these are
it depends
terrible.
on what the OC says, right? I mean, if the OC says, look, because Lamar had that tweet.
Because it's not like he's going to be in the interview room where the guy's going to be directly pitching to Lamar.
No, he could be. Obviously, he could be in the room. He could obviously be in the room. I think
that's different than that would be, hey, Lamar's going to be an active part of this process. Yeah. That's not what they said. They said he's going to have influence on it in some way, but like an active
I would have him meet with the OC, but he had that.
This dude doesn't even want to be in like OTAs, dog. He's not about to be up there in the meetings, like in the interviews.
If he wants to have say
for a team he technically does not work for right now.
Think about the idea of this guy. Okay, let's talk about this because he had that tweet where he said I played, where he retweeted a guy who said Lamar played in a pro style offense. Yeah, and he said, and he's like, I think he quote tweeted and said, "Thank you." Right? It's like, stop telling me that I can't play in a pro style offense. So if someone comes in, right, you imagine a world in which the Ravens bring in these OCs who say, yeah, if we keep Lamar, I'm going to kind of iterate on what Roman did, maybe open the passing game up a little bit, but I'm still want to be, a run heavy team of, and limited route tree and all that stuff. Okay, obviously Lamar.
Yeah, but you wouldn't fire Roman, who's the best at that, to hire somebody who's like Roman though. Like you're going to clearly move away from that.
I think the Zach Robinson one is interesting because he comes from the McVay offense, which does kind of run the ball as well. Even though it's a lot of pass stuff in there, it is kind of predicated on running the ball. So I thought the Zach Robinson one was interesting.
Here's the cheat code too. The football players aren't that hard to convince about a coach. Like it's not really that hard. They want to follow the coach. Like that's what they want to do. So it's like, there's a reason why, like, we might complain about Zach Taylor, but like nobody in the Bengals locker room really cares. Like, you know what I mean? Because they win in games at the end of the day. Like, it's not that hard for a football player to convince on the coach vision. They just don't want it to be Greg Roman no more. And like, now that Greg Roman's not in there, anybody that you bring in there, Lamar's can probably be like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's not like I think that might be a bit overblown. Like, we're kind of assuming like different levels. Like either we're assuming he's not a part of this process or completely, or that he's like going to be the one asking questions at the interview. I think the truth is probably somewhere in between, where it's like, hey, they're going to ask his input, but he's not going to be the final decision maker on the offensive coordinator. Yeah, that's going to be
it just was weird because it came out the same day where the Chargers were like, they fired their OC and they're like, yeah, Justin Herbert's going to have his input on the next coordinator. So it was just a weird timing thing where
it was asked, right? So they asked Harbaugh.
Well, that's why it came up.
Will Lamar get input, right?
Right.
If Harbaugh comes there and says, nah, why would he have input, right? Or something like that. That would just
or we have a process that we plan to follow.
So that's just gasoline to that fire, right? You can't at that point you have to say, sure, he will have input. Yeah.
And like that happens with like every if the Steelers need to hire a new defense coordinator, it's hilarious that sounds because we know who actually is the defense coordinator in there. They're going to be like, hey, TJ, what do you think about this guy that we're going to bring in? And TJ probably going to be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm TJ Watt. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's usually what it is there. It's not normally like TJ sitting in interviews and asking him, how are you playing to isolate me one-on-one? Same thing with like Myles Garrett in Cleveland. We're like, I'm pretty sure they talked to Myles Garrett. Like, hey, you would like to work with Jim Schwartz's system. This isn't something that you would have an allergic reaction to, but it's not like they were like, hey, Myles, who on this list do you want us to hire? Because he probably would have said Brian Flores, right? Like, that's just what most guys in the league would have probably done at that point. So it's yeah, he's going to get input, but it's not like he's getting final say. And I think even Lamar knows that, like, even if I have input, I don't really got final say. So I'm just like, you know,
yeah,
as long as I don't have an allergic reaction to this name, I'm not going to be like,
they couldn't have been real about that. They couldn't have been real about that because in the same interview, they were like, they asked him about the Lamar trade, and he was like, well, right now, we're trying to get a deal done. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. So I thought that was
200%. 200%.
Yeah, that's what Harbaugh. That's what
200% chance he stays in Baltimore. Which I'll throw this out there, and then we can move on.
Well, that's going to be a great shirt.
Yeah. I'll throw this out there, and then we can move on. You know, again, we go through this whole thing of like, will he sign? Will he be traded? Those are not the only options, right? There is another option, which is we enter into Le'Veon territory. We sign the franchise tag, we can't get a deal done, and then we just play chicken right until the last moment.
Tony, what's Tyler?
I'm rooting for that, by the way.
That with your quarterback.
What's Tyler Huntley's jersey number? Is it 2? 200% chance.
100% chance. Oh, was that a shot? Was that a shot? Was that a shot?
Look, if that happens, you're talking
about the Le'Veon thing.
I'll lead the way.
The 95% chance.
I'm fire EDC. Like legit.
Fire EDC.
Because the problem that I have is I could understand that they cannot get a deal done with Lamar. Wait. I can understand they couldn't get a deal done with Lamar, right? I can, right? Let's say the owner said like, nah, I'm not gonna pay fully guaranteed. And let's say Lamar's like, I only want to take a fully guarantee. Okay, I get it, right? If we are there, then EDC needs to pivot and say, okay, my only thing I can do is trade. And if he doesn't trade him, fire him.
That's
because
not true. But it's just not true, man. It's not true that the only thing he could force Lamar to play one more year.
It's not true technically, but like, you know what you have to do. Either right now the Ravens are in a position where it's like, if you want to move on to a new era, you're in a good position to do it because you can extract a lot of value for Lamar Jackson right now. Like,
you could extract a lot of value next year too. You could extract same value next year.
What happens if next year he plays and he gets hurt?
The only thing about the franchise tag is the only thing about the franchise tag, because this happened with Jesse Bates, where he was like, yeah, I'm not signing the franchise tag. He could try to force that as like a play to say, you know, I'm not signing it unless you trade me or something like that. That's the only move he would have in that event. If that were to happen.
We also have to think about it like this. This is not any other position. This is not safety. This is not linebacker. This is not center. This is not running back. This is a quarterback. Do you want to have the thought that your quarterback might feel more like a hostage than a volunteer? like that. Like, honestly, is that a way to win a Super Bowl? Is to have your quarterback feel like I'm just here because they told me to be here? Like, that's not, you're not gonna win anything. You're just kind of setting yourself up to, okay, because Tony, to your point, okay, you can keep him and he can stay. What if he puts up lackluster numbers again 2 years in a row? All of a sudden that asking price to trade him drops dramatically than what it is right now, where we could just hand wave that away. It's like, oh, he was injured, contract weirdness. Now I still would buy high on Lamar Jackson. 2 years in a row, all of a sudden you're putting yourself in territory. It doesn't even have to be an injury. So if you're the Ravens, this is the fork in the road for you. Like, in my opinion, either you commit or you get off the pot, because it doesn't get much better from it's just like this is like if a quarterback almost won the Heisman and they're coming out of college. What is the point of coming back for your senior year, dog? Like, you might as well go or not. Like, it's either get off the pot or go with it. Like that's what you got to do with Lamar. That's the situation they're at. That's what the most competent franchises would probably do in this situation. If you don't do that, then it shows a lack of people skills in the management department that you could not see that being a disaster. Like if you can't see that being a disaster, then I just question the amount of interaction that they have in that front office with actual people, because that's just not going to work. Like your quarterback cannot be out here. Like
I was going to say, the Ravens have been good at extending people, right? Lamar has been one of the few, and they're also quick. For example, they asked about Marcus Peters, and they deflected. They quickly said, like, we have a bunch of young guys. They're here. We're ready to, take if we cannot. But they basically dismissed it. And they have been
That's why that tear was
his
dropping
ass going
when he
back
left.
to Kansas City.
He knew.
That's what they said.
He knew it was over. He's
about to spend the vet minimum in Kansas City next year.
My biggest point here is, yes, this is the year. Either they can sign it, or the value right now is so high. I told you, Tony, there's a way, as crazy as it sounds, depending on the compensation, the Ravens can come up better on the other side, as crazy as that can sound. But what they cannot do is say, we're going to franchise and he's going to play under the franchise, because that's going to take you the whole salary cap, right? And you still have no answer. What is your future? So anyway, before we keep moving forward, let's pay some bills.
You don't want to end up like the Raiders.
You don't.
All right, let's talk about our friends over at True Classic. Gentlemen, you wouldn't walk out of the house wearing a trash bag, would you? Every time you wear one of those shirts you found in the dusty aisles of whatever department store had the best clearance sale, that's exactly what you're doing. Most men never learn how to shop for clothes that actually make them look good. Luckily, True Classic is here to help. We want you to level up your t-shirt game and save with our exclusive deal for our listeners. For a limited time only, get 25% off True Classic with our exclusive link, trueclassic.com/AFC North Talk. First impressions are important, and the shirt you're wearing is where the eye immediately goes to. Have you thought about upgrading? There are some men who always look good in t-shirts. Most companies make shirts for those guys and forget about everybody else with a normal body. True Classic designed tees to make all the fellas out there feel confident in their clothing. From gym rats to dad bods, with True Classic, you'll get lots of nods. True Classic will make you feel your best by accentuating the places the eye goes to first. These taper off towards the bottom, but they fit tighter around the chest and shoulders. This is a desirable look that can be achieved with every body type. They give you that wide shoulder taper bottom look that we're all looking for, and the quality is elite. True Classic offers other menswear as well, ranging from polos to workout shirts to boxer briefs, designed to cradle your boys and eliminate discomfort. They make it super easy to build out your wardrobe with premium True Classic quality. If you purchase a 6-pack or even a 3-pack, the price per shirt is far more reasonable than any of those marked up premium brands you've seen floating around. And for our listeners who are well endowed, they have long options for tall guys and up to 3XL. True Classic also has a 100% risk-free guarantee with a 30-day return policy. The response to these tees are overwhelmingly positive, with over 7,000 5-star reviews. It's no wonder these shirts are quickly becoming men's go-to. Skinny dudes, big dudes, buff dudes, my dudes, True Classic has you covered, and you can get 25% off at trueclassic.com/AFC North Talk. Free shipping is included on purchases over $100. And again, that's 25% off at trueclassic.com/AFC North Talk.
Okay, hold on, because I lost here the super chat. There you go. Before we go to the super chats, let's go and say big thank you to Adam Holland, Dangazula, and Luis Carson for being the top tier on Patreon. Thank you for supporting.
Luis. I remember.
Yes.
I talked a lot of shit to Luis on when Heel Tony. I did. I didn't do. I don't talk a lot of shit on the show. But Heel Tony, the other guy who comes in, who subs in for me every once in a while, he got into it with Luis last year, if I remember correctly.
But thank you for being that top tier, that top patrons, and thank you for all the patrons to support us.
I would never react rudely to a super chat, Tony. It has never happened on this show.
We have a queue of super chats, and let's read it all, and then we're gonna go to the game.
Sure.
Wait, that wasn't it. Hold on. There,
Did you get Leftwich?
Did Byron Leftwich?
Hold on.
Coach Kenny, or should he be the quarterback?
Nova's still here, coming back. So glad I don't have to root for those Bucks anymore.
Yeah, here we go. Oh yeah. Okay.
The Bucks' problem wasn't the roster. It was their quarterback.
No. It was the roster though. Because if he had a line, honestly, Brady was a little washed this year, but only in that he just didn't want to get hit. If they had an offensive line, it could have been more.
No, I'm sorry. Once I see you throw an interception with your back turned, like that's it. I don't want to see you play football no more. Once you throw the back turn, he threw like that. He did the who's in the meme because they threw the interception like that? Who's the meme? No. This is newer than Jake Delhomme. This is like I think Derek Carr threw an interception like that, became a meme where he's like, like after that, dog, you have to funk on you. I don't want to see you play again, dog.
Yeah,
like, after that, no, that's gonna be his Hall of Fame bust.
I just need Brady to go somewhere next year with a bad offensive line.
I need him to go home.
To watch him.
Just tell him to go home.
No, at this point, I want him to keep playing. I want him to keep playing now. No, I'm enjoying. I really enjoy watching.
We don't need to watch him. He needs to go home and clean himself because he is washed.
Keep playing.
Steelers should get Leftwich to coach Kenny.
That would have been. I mean, look, that's what would have happened if they fired Canada. They were just going to hire Leftwich, and it was going to be.
Is Byron Leftwich the same age as Tom Brady?
I think he's a year younger.
Might be actually younger. Yeah.
All right, man. Go home, Tom. Go home.
Because Leftwich got drafted in the 2000s, right?
Dog, Leftwich's his whole career, and then the peak of his coaching career all happened in Tom Brady's career.
He's 43.
He needs to go home. Dog. Tom needs to go home.
is 43,
and Tom is 44.
And he just turned 43 in January. And Tom Brady is 45, about to turn 46 this year.
Oh, he's 45. Good for him. Keep playing, Tom. Love it. Loving your late work.
I don't need to see this anymore.
Diddy here says, blame Canada. Q, you're a hater. Should be hater.
My name should be hater. That's okay, Diddy. What did you think it was about to be all peace and love after the Ravens game? Like, what did you thought I was about to be all unified for the state of Ohio so the Bengals could win a Super Bowl? Nah. Now that the Ravens are out of this, who I truly despise, now I can root for your downfall. Go Buffalo Bills.
This is
big shout out Deion Dawkins. You know what I mean? Big shout out Josh Allen.
This is not a college podcast.
Boy, my favorite player, Calais Campbell 2.0. Greg, what's his last name?
Gregory Rousseau.
Gregory Rousseau. I was always a believer. I was always a believer.
Favorite player, Gregory.
Oh yeah,
I don't remember.
Big fan. Definitely wasn't much higher on Jalen Phillips than him, right? Like, definitely wasn't me.
This side talked a lot about Russo. I don't know. I don't remember being a part of it.
Look. No. Calais was right. The man just needed to blossom into his position. You know what I mean? Calais Campbell 2.0. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is not a college podcast. We don't like. It's not like, you know, in college where you're like, oh, we want to root for our conference or whatever to do well in the playoffs.
No, nobody wants to come here and see Bengal fans happy about a Super Bowl.
Is that a thing in college?
Come back to work just to cover the Bengals Super Bowl parade. That's not what I'm trying to do. No. I'm trying to see them lose.
You saying that Michigan roots for Ohio State to win?
No. Big Ten fans root for Ohio State fans root for the Big Ten teams that don't matter in bowl season. You know what I mean? Who cares if Minnesota wins against an SEC team? That's cool. But when it comes to the schools that are actually good, like Michigan, nah, they're not rooting for them. It's the same with the SEC. They'll root for Missouri.
No, I don't know. I think in the SEC, like Bama will root for LSU to win a bowl game because it's all
no, because. Let me tell you something.
Not a national title.
I live in SEC country, and you know what Alabama fans were rooting for 2 straight weeks? Ohio State and TCU. They was not trying to see Georgia get 2 in a row. There's a level of success.
Not a national title. Not a national title.
No. But like a regular bowl game, they do that. But like these games actually matter in the NFL. So nah.
Ray here says, watching the Browns/Steelers game, it really looked like they ran the same motion from the same formation over and over again. Was it like that all year towing?
It's a little overblown. I mean, look, they don't run like 6. People are like, they only run 6 plays. They probably run 10, but it's I mean, they run a lot of the same stuff over and over again. Yes. The Steelers playbook was limited this year, no doubt. And that started in week 1. It changed it. Look, I'll give Canada credit. This is another thing you have to give Canada credit for.
Week 1 of 2019.
He did change the offense 2020 when he was OC in 2020. Calm down. Or 2020.
No, I'm saying you've been complaining about this problem since 2019 when the offense is.
Oh, they're only on the same stuff. Well,
yeah.
Well, no, Fichtner had different problems, but as far as giving Canada credit, like I'll say this, he did change it up in the second half of the year. Formations changed, the style of play changed as far as being more run heavy, and I will give Canada credit for that.
And then here says Joshua, why isn't the Bengals protesting about this game being in Buffalo? If
I agree,
we would have won against the Bills, we would have been the second seed.
You know what, Zach Taylor, you should be principled on this, and you should hold your team out of this game and technically forfeit, so you can show the league that you're not going to stand for this.
Josh isn't on Twitter, by the way. Joshua, congratulations on not
being on Twitter. It is what it is, Josh. Like, it's too late for us to protest anything. Like, the game is what it is. You got to play it.
It's never too late. Nah, just don't show up for kickoff. That'll give this. You take the money from the league from that game. They have to refund their advertisers. That's how you teach them. You would have to sacrifice this playoff run, but hey, that's nothing in the grand picture of it. So,
yeah, it's about sending a message, right? It's about sending a message. Yeah.
Hashtag Bengals should boycott the game. Let's go.
Another one for Ray Rack. Here's this entire offseason. Tony is going to be insufferable.
Ooh, well, I'm always insufferable, but this offseason is going to be
fun. Oh, and Tony Watson had as many touchdowns.
No, don't even. Why would you do this? See, look, you're not even helping yourself. There was no reason to bring up Deshaun Watson this whole podcast, and then you're going to super chat a reason for him to go off. This is an assist from Ray Rack.
Can you bring that one back up?
No.
He had more touchdowns than he did than Kenny Pickett did. Wow, that's great. Well, listen, I hope he continues that. Maybe every year, just like what happened in Week 18, Deshaun can put up better numbers, and they lose embarrassingly, and Kenny just continues winning. I would love for that to be the story of Kenny Pickett and the story of Deshaun Watson. So just keep bringing up a little. Hey, listen, Deshaun's in there somewhere. Yeah, I know. I got it. He's in there somewhere. We'll find him. Search party still out
this
there.
This is like if you wear a shirt with a hole in it.
I wasn't here Monday because I was helping out, looking for Watson here locally. We were doing a little get together on Monday night, and I just wanted. I heard that the last time he was seen is in Washington. I heard in like maybe the second half of that one, but that didn't last very long. And he went. He was MIA from that point forward. So we're still trying to find him. We're gonna figure it out.
Fine speech.
If Ravens hire Leftwich, I'm out until he going. I didn't even know you were in.
That's from a Bucks guy. I mean, again, remember Nova Stone,
a Brady guy,
Brady. Bucks Ravens guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Potential OC don't want to be in.
It's interesting. Coordinators that like fans fall in love with.
Yeah,
my bad.
No, that's okay. And when LeBron got him hired, then he went to Miami. Yes,
that's dirty macking right there. That's dirty macking. LeBron was like, "Yeah, y'all should. I would like it if y'all hired Byron Scott." We hired Byron Scott, and he was like, "No, I'm still going to Miami though. They got Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. Like, yeah. I'm just saying.
And Paul Masick here says promote T. Martin to OC. By the way, this is something that the Ravens flock, and I like T. Martin, but
he was better than Peyton at Tennessee.
So T. Martin is a lot of wide receivers in the league went to T. Martin before he went to the Ravens, right? And they rave about him, receivers specifically, not quarterback, just receivers, right? So then we hired T. Martin, and after that. He is our golden boy. I don't know if y'all have one of those that is not an OC.
So you're telling me not even T. Martin could fix the Ravens receivers is what you're telling me.
Wait, T. Martin is the guy who played for the Steelers, right? This is Tennessee quarterback, post Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
We're talking that T. Martin, right?
Okay. That T. Martin.
Okay. That's okay.
Yeah. The one who won the national championship in Tennessee right after Peyton, right? Yeah.
Has he been an OC before? Has he called plays before? Like
in one college, and I think he was the OC.
He was a passing game coordinator at Morehouse.
Yeah, he was.
And then at North Atlanta High School, he was an offensive coordinator. And then he was an offensive coordinator at USC too.
Yeah,
so there's actual experience
for like a year. But that was under Lane Kiffin. I'm assuming Lane Kiffin was the one calling the plays when he was.
I would have assumed Lane Kiffin was out here doing any work.
Fair enough. Fair enough. D Watt got 250 mil and being compared to Pickett.
It won't be for long. Enjoy your
Oh,
fun.
he's going through the rookie. Look. Deshaun Watson's a rookie right now. Rookie growing pains early on in his career. Like again, it's too early to read into anything he's doing on the field. Let's just, let's give him an off season to kind of grow into the position.
Damn.
You know what I mean? Like again, everybody's like making these rash judgments about Deshaun Watson. Like he's been a pro for 6 or 7 years already. Like he's put up, big numbers in his past. Like the guy is young. Like let's just let him be who he's going to be and not, aspire him to these great things. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's just holding to this really high standard. I just don't get it. Like he's the highest paid quarterback of all time in NFL history. It's just so weird.
Not the highest paid quarterback of all time.
Guaranteed.
Highest guaranteed. But it's look. People are gonna say what they say. People are gonna try to make you get your head down, and I think it's important that
people
look. Bullies like Tony Serino exist in real life, and I think the real value of this podcast is that we're teaching young men and women, and maybe older men and women, how to handle bullies. Because when they go low, we go high. You know what I mean? You go as low as you want. But you know what, Tony? I hope you have a blessed day.
I do, and same to you and Browns fans out there. And I hope you guys. I hope you enjoy.
I hope your day is so good that your hair grows back. That's what I'm hoping.
Okay. Wow.
I'm hoping the best. I want you to be hairy again.
All right. We're there. Now we're okay. Good. Set the tone for the rest of the show. Good.
Huh? What are you talking about? Was that not a good thing to hope? I want you to get in shape up again, brother. Like that's it. Like you know what I mean? Like I want you to join.
Great. Looks great.
Mm-hmm. It looks good, but it could be better, and that's what I'm praying for you. You know what I mean? That we get to great. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
It can happen.
Titanic fan here says, "I hope the Bills win. I don't want the Bengals to win and advance to the next round in the playoff." And with that, I'm gonna go ahead straight to Ace.
Unexpected.
Ace. What is your expectation of this game?
Yeah, I mean, with this game, obviously, this was kind of what was expected from the top 3 teams in the AFC. One of them was going to have to go through the other. Then they would have to advance to possibly the third, the number 1 seed or whatever, right? So in this game, I think I would feel a lot more uncomfortable if we didn't see the Monday Night Football game in the first 9 minutes of that game. And the reason that I say that is usually when teams first play the Bengals, they are not familiar with how our team works, how to stop it. They kind of struggle with it when you really look back at it, especially with the Jamar Chase factor. A lot of teams first struggled, even some of the teams in the division. The only team that didn't was the Browns, right? And with a team like the Browns and the Ravens, you have to have a secondary to compete with these guys. Right now, the Buffalo Bills, they're banged up in the secondary. Even though Poyer's playing, he's basically out there on one leg. They've got a backup safety out there playing. They've got a young guy in Dane Jackson, who honestly Bills fans aren't too fond of him. They got Tre'Davious White, and then they got Kyer Elam. I would expect that they're going to play Kyer Elam, even though they haven't majority of the season. The thing that everybody's been talking about with this Bills team, which was fire hot when they started off and have just really kind of stumbled essentially into the playoffs, especially against last week against the Dolphins, has been Josh Allen and the turnovers, right? And a lot of people are saying, oh, if Josh Allen turns the ball over, that's going to be the key into this game. He can't do that and then win. For me, the Bengals have been forcing turnovers majority of the season. That's just kind of predicated on it. But they're going to put Josh Allen in positions and Ken Dorsey and his offense in positions to take the checkdowns. They don't like taking the checkdowns. They like going for the jugular, the kill shot majority of the game. That could hurt the Bengals because you do have Eli Apple, right? You do have CTB. But the one thing about the Bengals is we play zone most of the time. We don't really play man defense like that. So it's really going to come down to Jesse Bates. It's going to come down to Von Bell, preventing those big plays from happening. Can they happen? Sure. Because you got Stephon Diggs, you got Josh Allen, you got all of these guys. Talked to Zach Carter last night. The number one thing that he said that he saw on film was that Josh Allen takes a lot of he takes advantage of a lot of the rushing lanes when he drops back. A lot of people don't see it. The B gap is open. The A gap is open. Sometimes he's running through those. You got to limit him. And he mentioned that Josh Allen has a tendency to roll to the right. That's when he wants to get the big play and force it downfield. He's generally going out to his right. those are going to have to be the situations where Lou Anarumo cooks something up against him. I was looking forward to this matchup the whole season because all I heard in the offseason was that the Bills are the favorite, this and that. And I wanted to see how Lou Anarumo played Josh Allen. That's going to be a big factor, I think, in this game, how he confuses Allen. I think Allen obviously has the intangibles when it comes to the physical traits, but I'm not sure if he's able to dissect this Lou Anarumo defense as he can. I think we'll play a lot of zone. I think we'll send some pressure at him. The other thing people aren't talking about, because I know everyone is going to say the Bengals offensive line, they gave up 7 sacks last week against Miami, against a decimated Miami or a decimated, not necessarily decimated, but they gave up 7 sacks to that Miami defensive line. One that's not like going to blow you away. It's not like a defensive line that you look at and you're like, it's pretty much Christian Wilkins and a bunch of other guys over there. Even though I do like the other kid from Miami, but, not top tier guys. When it comes to that, that's something where I feel like the Bengals are going to be able to get some pressure on Josh Allen, force some things in this game, force some of those turnovers. And so from that aspect, I look at Josh Allen. I feel like they're going to bracket Diggs. Gabe Davis could be an X factor for them, I think, in this game. Dawson Knox is a guy that I'm worried about, especially with Trey Flowers possibly not going to be in this game. Trey Flowers is a 6'3" corner that we normally put on tight ends. He's not going to be in this game. But I think the big thing is just that they're not going to be able to really slow down this Bengals offense. Like, I get that they have talented players there. I get that they're going to try to get home. You're going to have to get home with 4 because if you don't, against this offense, if you want to send blitzes, if you want to do that, Joe Burrow is like top 3 in the league against the blitz. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to blitz this guy. The biggest thing is get it home with 4, right? I think Rousseau has a solid chance because we have Akeem Adeniji there. He's a guy that struggles primarily with bull rushes. Like, he doesn't really have the power there. He's solid outside of that. And then you talk about Jackson Carman. Jackson Carman last week, I thought that he played pretty solid. The only thing I'm worried about with Jackson Carman, because he's got the power. I think Bollinger did like a breakdown on him, thought that he played really well. The only thing I worry about with Jackson Carman is they can't get those penalties. They can't get the false starts. That was something that happened in the Ravens game. But I'm pretty confident in Jackson Carman. The other thing I'm confident in is Max Sharpen as well. The reason that I'm confident is because last year when the Bengals put guys out there like Isaiah Prince and Hakeem Adeniji at guard instead of tackle, they were playing late-round picks out of their position. This isn't the same situation. Jackson Carman was a second-round pick. Max Sharpen was a second-round pick. Hakeem Adeniji now has played 19 games. He's playing back at his specific position. The other interesting thing was I went over and listened to Joe Marino on the Bills podcast, and he said that all year the Bills defense, when they face teams with decimated offensive lines like they did against the Miami Dolphins, they haven't necessarily taken advantage of it. They haven't really wrecked the game like you would expect them to. And so I feel like the Bengals are still going to give up 2 sacks, maybe 3 sacks. I don't think that that's enough to stop Joe Burrow in this offense. And if Josh Allen is giving me a turnover, I really don't like those prospects for the Bills. So for me, I don't think Josh Allen is just the type of guy and Ken Dorsey is the type of coordinator that's just going to take checkdowns, dog. And I think that they're going to try to let it fly. I think that they're going to take some chances. I think the Bengals will capitalize on that. I think the Bengals defense is going to have to come through again in this game. But I think the offense is going to be able to be more unlocked in this one. We played the Ravens 2 weeks in a row, dog. Like, that's one of the best defenses in the AFC. Call it what you want. That there is not going to be another hard defense, I feel like, that we face until we get to the NFC side of things, if we get there. And so I think on the AFC side, that was the hardest one. That was the one where Joe couldn't really take chances. I think he can take chances against this Bills offense, and I think that they're going to do that. And I honestly feel like the Bengals are going to come out here, win this one, I think by 3 points on a road. I think that they're going to come out, do their thing. It's going to come down to the end of the game. It's going to come down to possibly a field goal, and I'm going with the Bengals in that one.
Yeah. Tony, do you remember who I compared Josh Allen to?
He'll be calling the game. He'll be in the stadium.
Oh, I see. I said Ace. I know you weren't there, but I said I told this to my wife like in the past when they played Miami. I said Josh Allen is a better version of Tony Romo. And he is 50-50 on, like, The question with Josh Allen, or for me, the thing with Josh Allen is he has a 50% chance of like making something special and winning the game, right? And he is a talented guy. But this is when the game's on the line. But he has the same percentage of screwing the game and give it to the other team, especially in the red zone. And that's what Tony Romo was saying. It's like when the game was on the line, I personally call it Tony Happy Feet Romo, because then he get nervous and then he will fumble or do something stupid. So I think, look, I said when the Bengals were playing the Bills in Cincinnati, I was confident that we're going to win this game, or that game, sorry. I think the Bengals are the better team. I think the Bengals are better in all facets, minus O-line right now because of the guys that are injured. And that could be what could bring the Bengals down. But I don't believe in the pass rush that the Bills can provide. So if the Bills cannot legit pressure with five, right? With five guys cannot push pressure, they're gonna have an issue. The other thing that the Bills have that can help them in this game is Milano and Edmonds, because Milano and Edmonds, they're legit good linebackers. And it's not only on the running game, right? Like I will go back to, you can't let Mixon run all over you, right? Because if Mixon runs all over you, play action opens, and then you have to bring people down because they're running, and then that just makes Shay's job and T and oh my God, the slot guy, Boyd. Thank you. They're just gonna murder you. They're gonna murder you if Mixon is going. They're just gonna murder you. Okay, but not only on the running side, is on the passing side, because Joe Burrow will look. He learned. Okay, you gotta cover to me, dump off, and he's gonna give me 5 or 6 yards. Then I'm just gonna move the chain. The Ravens did a very good job limiting those passings to those running backs, right? And that's something they have to do. I cannot see Buffalo doing that consistently. I cannot see Buffalo producing a pass rush consistently. So for that end, I do think the Bengals will score on them consistently. And then if I flip it on the other side, yes, I think the Bills can score points against the Bengals. But I think because the Bengals offense will always through the game is going to put pressure on this offense of the Bills to score points, that's when Mr. Allen will come. He will do something, pick, fumble. And I think the Bengals win the turnover battle in this game, the plus minus. I think it will be favored the Bengals. And I think the Bengals win by 10. I think the Bengals win by 10. I think it's not going to be a nail biter, but it's going to be a good game, competitive game. But I think the Bengals will establish the 10-point. I think, like, if you go back to watch that game, like, the Bills were almost flustered. Like, they didn't know what to do with the Bengals offense. Like, they did not know where do I stop? Like, they look like it. Look, I mean, Tony, actually, credit to Tony. Tony told me this, and he's right. If Von Miller was in this game, now you have that extra pass rush. And now, like, if you can produce a legit pass rush rushing 5, then you can help that secondary, and then you're up to something, right? That's not there. He's not there. They can't do this. So saying that, I think the Bengals win by 10. I think it's because the Bills will not know how to handle this offense. And on the other side, the pressure on Allen to produce, to keep up, will produce turnovers. Now, on the flip side, if Joe Burrow or somebody, right, starts fumbling or producing turnovers, yeah, that's it. That's game, right? Like, turnovers can swing the game either. I mean, talk about last week, right? So turnovers obviously can swing the game either way. But thinking about a normal game as I see it, I think it's I don't know, 37-27 game maybe, or yeah, around that. I think good game. The Bengals are a good defense, right? The offense of Buffalo is legit, but the Bengals will get a couple opportunistic turnovers, and they will seal this game. I'm gonna go with UQ, the picket window.
So just to get this right, I know Ace picked the Bengals, right? Sonny, did you pick the Bengals?
Yeah.
Tony, are you leaning towards Bengals?
Can't tell you. I haven't been called on yet. I don't know where I'm going. I honestly don't know where I'm going in this one because I had a pick originally. I told it to Sonny yesterday, and then I got talked out of it today. Because here's the thing, this is such a friggin' rat line, man. I mean, the line in Vegas of this game is such a rat line.
That's a toss-up.
I told Sonny yesterday, like, I'm going to lose a lot of money on this game if it goes any higher than it is right now. And I'm still even considering today, like,
I would only bet the anytime touchdowns.
Bills by 5.5 right now. It started at 3.5.
That's crazy.
4 or whatever in a lot of places. Then it moved
and
to
it
4.
moved up to
then
5.
4.5. Then it moved to 5. Now it went to 5.5, and it's juiced. It's juiced to the Bills, dude. Either Vegas knows something, or I mean, the Bills are going to win this game by a touchdown easily. I mean, Vegas not even taking a side on this. They just keep like, yeah, no, let's keep moving the line. Moving the line. They haven't taken a stand yet. Well, you don't want us all to pick the Bengals, is what you're saying? You're gonna go the other way?
He wants to be the lone wolf.
Yeah,
no, I'm just wondering why, because everybody's like picking the Bengals, and I'm like, definitely don't feel that way. I was just wondering, like, am I going to be the asshole here? Am I going to? I'm going to
bet the Bengals. I'll say that. I'm going to bet the Bengals in this one.
Yeah.
Whether they win the game outright, I feel like this is a lot like a lot of the games they played last year. I don't know.
I think this game's a toss-up. Like, the Bengals could win this game. Like, this is not the Bengals cannot beat the Bills. Like, no, they could win this game. I just don't think they will. I think we're kind of making a lot of our judgments on Josh Allen on some recent performances. I don't know if that's going to be the Josh Allen that shows up in the division game. Like, I think he's probably going to be better than that. And like, this is me, I'm a big law of averages guy. He threw a lot of interceptions and turned the ball over a lot in that game versus Miami. I don't know how probable it is that he continues to turn the ball over at that rate or anything close to that rate. So I don't know if he's just going to give the ball up. And we know that Joe Burrow, like, he's not immune to a turnover here or there, right? Like he has been known to cough it up sometimes or like throw a bad interception every once in a while. So I think Buffalo, they play they both play physical styles. Like, it's so hard to predict this game because like nothing's going, like there's not an obvious exploitation of weakness here for either team. Buffalo's not that great at running the ball, but like Cincy's not like they're a very good run defense anyways. Cincy has a very solid secondary. When it comes to the offensive side of the ball for the Cincinnati Bengals, they're not the most consistent offense when it comes to consistently getting points per drive, right? That's one of the things that Tony points out, where it's like, hey, they only put up 17 points. Like, they don't put up as much points as you would think an offense that high-powered does, because like a lot of it's high volatility stuff. But the Bills are kind of similar in that too, because there's a lot of high volatility when it comes to Josh Allen. It's just when he's hitting, there's nothing like it, right? Like, it's crazy when it's hitting. So I think this game being at home, and since it is a toss-up, that's why I would lean towards the Bills here. I don't know if like what happened on Monday night is going to benefit anybody, because like, yeah, they did get a look at the Bengals, but it was really only a quarter, and I don't think they're really taking away much from that game. And also, like, how much tape are you going to feel comfortable just breaking down from that game? Like, it's kind of weird to break it down. Like, you know what I mean? Like to really like go in depth there, especially when one of the players like not going to be there. So I don't know how much that affects things. I think this is a game on the road for the Bengals. Bengals very good team. The Bills are a very good team. This is going to be a hell of a game, a hell of a watch. It can go either way, but in the situations where it can go either way, in the situations where I feel like the quarterbacks are about relatively on the same level, you have to point to, okay, what's the one advantage they have here? It might be home field advantage. It might be familiarity. I don't know. It might be the fact that the Bills and the Bengals have been around like the same amount of time. So it's not even experience. Like, this could legitimately go. Who has the better kicker, Tyler Bass or Shanky Boy? So yeah, this is going to come down to the kicker. I got Tyler Bass on this. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, but I do
Sorry.
think I do think when we're getting to like he's a better version of Tony Romo, that's just like, yo, come on.
That's
Dog.
just me.
Josh Allen is so much better than
Yeah,
Tony Romo ever was.
I was like,
when the time
It's
I
so
mean, if you want to compare
disrespectful,
it,
Josh
it's Brett, right? It's Favre.
Huh?
It's Favre. He's Favre. Modern Favre.
He's big. Well, he's Brett Favre in the way he makes decisions. But like even Brett couldn't move like him. Like, well, Brett could move a little bit.
He's Cam Herbert.
But he wasn't.
Cam Herbert.
He's big ass
Cam
Brett
Newton.
Favre.
Cam Newton and Justin Herbert had a baby.
You know what? Honestly, he's more Cam Newton to me because Cam could turn the ball over a lot too. But he has a stronger arm than Cam, which is crazy because like Cam was a robot coming out of college. And he's harder to tackle than Cam, which is like crazy because prime Cam was
the other thing I don't understand with the Romo thing is like, when have we seen Josh Allen like, single-handedly cost his team the game? I mean, like, if you look back at how they lost last year.
Hey,
2019 playoff game. There's been games. There's been games.
Well, okay,
where he is like, I wouldn't say he can say.
Rookie.
He shuts down sometimes. Like I think before 2020, he had like a couple games where he shut down in the clutch. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't get that one either. Like, I don't think he's like a not clutch quarterback. I'm not there yet with Josh Allen.
I'm not saying that he's not clutch. I think it's a 50-50 proposition.
I don't even think he turns the ball over that much to justify that. I feel
like the Bills are a team that either they blow you out, and that's where Josh Allen's at his best. Like, you can catch me. Okay, now I
feel like we watched him turn the ball over 3-4 times.
This game, the analysis of this game that's based on last week, I think it's a mistake on both sides.
It's not last week. This is not last week.
And then we can point to like the Bengals didn't have like the smoothest time offensively either last week. Now again, you can point that to being the Ravens offense, the defense that would be like, that did that to him. But like, this is not a Bengals team that has necessarily struggled against the Ravens in past years.
I will say this.
Roquan being there does make a difference, but I also like, all jokes aside, I do think Roquan's a very good player. I think his impact is overstated though. But
I will say a statement about Bills and Bengals. You guys, I would like to hear what you guys think. I think the Bengals are where the Bills should have been, right?
Yep.
If you think about it, where the Bengals were last year,
the Bengals are the Warriors and the Bills are the Clippers.
Well, I'm just saying that last year it should have. If it wasn't KC making to the Super Bowl, it should have been the Bills, right? Everybody, right? And this year again, people are like, okay, maybe last year was a fluke. The Bills again, they went back preseason pick, hands down. Bills like nobody even close. Bills are making to the Super Bowl. So if the Bengals beat the Bills again, you are talking about the Bengals were here 2 years ago, right? And the Bills were the up and coming team. The Bengals leapfrogged them, and then the pundits and the media were like, no. The Bills are the team. That was a fluke for the Bengals. The Bengals are good, but they're not the Bills, right? And think about the Bills or the Bengals winning again. The Bengals are the team that the Bills were.
They called that game the real AFC Championship. We ain't forgot.
What game?
They called the Bills Chiefs game the real AFC Championship.
Felt like it at the time, though. I mean, you got to admit, like the way that game played out, I was like, holy shit, these two teams. But no, credit to the Bengals.
I'm just saying that. Go ahead.
Hey, like, to be fair though, like we watched like what was it, Titans Bengals that game, and it was like, okay, and then you saw Bills Chiefs, and it was just like the most amazing game you ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
And people had some ridiculous takes coming out of that game. So much ridiculous takes that they changed the overtime rules because of that, which I'm still not a fan of. But it is what it is. But I think ironically, this is going to go to overtime.
If only there was a team in those same circumstances that somehow beat the Chiefs.
Well, hopefully they don't play the Chiefs again this year. Bills by 40. Let's go. Let's go, Buffalo.
Wow.
So that's a BBD, right?
Booty beat down. Let's go, Buffalo.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
put it down. Put it down. Josh Allen, 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's going to set an AFC Divisional Series record right here. You know what? 100 yards for whichever running back they decide to get the ball to. It's going to be either James Cook or my homeboy, fellow short king, Devin Singletary. You know what I mean? And then, is Stephon Diggs playing?
Yeah,
Stephon Diggs, 200 yards. Gabe Davis, y'all gonna have Eli Apple and Gabe Davis. Cookies, I tell you. It's gonna be Granny Smith apple cookies on the field. I tell you, okay. Jordan Poyer, better than Jesse Bates by a mile. Much better. Actually good free safety. Jesse Bates, fake good free safety. A real quarterback's gonna get in here. This is the first time outside of Patrick Mahomes last year in the AFC Championship game that the Bengals are gonna play a real quarterback in the playoffs, and I think that's gonna be their downfall. They can't beat a real quarterback. They've beaten Tyler Huntley, they've beaten Derek Carr, they've beaten Ryan Tannehill. This is not a great list of quarterbacks that they beat. Patrick Mahomes, but yeah, they've beaten Patrick Mahomes, whatever. But they haven't played the gauntlet of quarterbacks, and this year they're gonna play the gauntlet in Josh Allen by himself, one man. Also like a real take here in between the trolling. A real take. Look, the tackle that comes in the middle of the game can look good, but that next start for that guy usually it could be something else. Like, I'm just going to warn Bengal fans about that. Like, Jackson Carman looked good in that one, like coming in, and that's one thing to do it when they don't really know your tendencies. But that second start sometimes can be a pain. In that situation, I would just point that out because the Browns had a very similar situation where, hey, we got through the playoff game against Pittsburgh with a backup left tackle, guy named Blake. Famously, you remember that, Tony? Blake Hance came in the middle of that game.
Yeah,
Blake Hance and then
remember the Steelers didn't lose that game. They didn't lose that game. They ran out of time.
They lost the game.
They just ran out of time.
What was the result? Who moved on to the next round?
I believe they outscored the Browns like 35-7.
Okay, but you lost. You lost the game in the first quarter. But seriously though, they brought in that dude. He was fine at left tackle against the Steelers of all teams. Like, had a good game against Highsmith, and in the next game, Chris Jones had a career game against him. It was just disgusting what was happening to that left tackle position. So, like, there is that to worry about with the Bengals. I think if there is one downfall to them, it might be that for them in all seriousness. But back to having fun. Bills by 40. They're going to bring this home. This is the year of the Buffalo, baby. Let's go. The most lovable underdog friend. By the way, this has been a great week on Twitter, seeing both the Bengals fans and Bills fans argue about who is more of an underdog. But you know what? The underdog of underdogs, Buffalo, New York. All it does is snow and sad up there, and they finally gonna get their happy. Josh Allen, Super Bowl champion. He's gonna beat the Bengals, and then the Bengals will become the Clippers, and they're gonna trade, Joe Burrow for like 2 picks in the future. Let's go, Buffalo. I need Buffalo to win this one. Gabe Davis on Eli Apple, grandma cookies is getting cooked. Let's go. Apple pie. Eli Apple pie. It's about to be baked over there on that side.
By the way, do you remember the comment that Jordan Matthews said about Buffalo?
What he said?
Remember Jordan Matthews?
Yeah, I remember. The Eagles receiver, he was like good for 1 year.
Yeah, so he went to Buffalo. He went to Buffalo, and he got this lady. I don't even know if this is. I mean, he said it on TV. He said, so he got this girl pregnant, and they were like, "Oh, how you feel about it?" Blah blah blah. And he was like, "There's nothing to do here in Buffalo other than do each other."
Oh, yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Look, man, there's 2 cities in the NFL. Like, we make all the jokes about Cleveland, Cincinnati, and all that, but like, let's be real. There's 2 cities you don't really want to play for unless the team is really, really good, and that's Green Bay and Buffalo, because both them cities have no business having a pro football franchise.
Well, at least Milwaukee's close enough. Milwaukee's close.
You know what I mean? But the only reason Buffalo and Green Bay only has one because they were around when like Canton had a football team in the NFL. Like, they're just this pure history why they're there. Because they would be the Madison Packers if they had any say, or like the Milwaukee Packers. But Buffalo, dog, you could have paid me to live in no damn Buffalo. I'm sorry. Like,
Got
I
good
want
wings
y'all to
around here.
win, but
Got good wings
Huh?
if you're a wing guy. They got good wings
I'm fine with the wings that I get. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Atlanta has fine wings. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay down here, and the wing selection is fine. I don't need to go to Buffalo. Buffalo is terrible. I'm not going to Buffalo. Do you go to Buffalo for vacation? Anybody y'all
Maybe
been to
no for me,
Buffalo
dog.
for fun? Has anybody here
I
ever
flew
been to Buffalo?
Buffalo. I flew
Never
to
been.
Buffalo to drive to the Canadian Niagara Falls.
It's a
Closest I've
transitional.
got
You want?
to
Oh yeah, I've been to
Buffalo.
Buffalo to go to Niagara Falls.
Closest I've got to Buffalo is Benny the Butcher. That's about it. That's where it stops.
And every time
I
you
would have
see one
bought.
of
I
them,
would have bought tickets to
look,
Buffalo though. I was gonna go if the Steelers made the playoffs. I would have been there
hey,
for that game.
here's how dope Buffalo is. Them Griselda dudes be in the front court of every other pro sporting event, not in Buffalo. Like, you ever be watching wrestling? It be in Kansas City, and West Side Gun be in the front row, because you know what? He ain't trying to be in Buffalo, dog. Nobody trying to be in Buffalo. But go Buffalo this week. You know, then I want Patrick Mahomes to win next week
After all the
because I cheer for
disrespect.
greatness.
Okay, Tony, give us your
Full
take.
hill.
Yeah, I think the one thing about this game is I think too much is made. Everything I hear about this game, so much is made about what happened to these two teams a week ago, and it's so clear. Like, look, that was very specific. Yes, Tyler Huntley almost beat Joe Burrow in Cincinnati in the playoffs. Yes, that did almost happen, right? But that is not an indictment necessarily on some fatal flaw that the Bengals have that they will at some point get exposed by. That's a fatal flaw about, hey, you had to play against your bitter division rival in a playoff game, and as it turns out, like, those games are going to be close. Same for Bills Dolphins. I mean, I look at that Bills Dolphins game. It's like, yeah, Nerd Boy put together a hell of a game plan in that one. They rattled Josh Allen with a bunch of zero, and he wanted to make them pay on every time they did it. And yeah, I mean, they made that game far closer than I think anybody expected, except for
Nerd Boy also used all of his timeouts in the third quarter.
Listen, Nerd Boy.
Yeah, we want to talk about this great game plan. Call the timeout. You can't get the damn play call in. Missed the game plan.
I mean, he had his third string quarterback in, and again, he almost beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. Let's not hate on Nerd Boy today.
I'm hating on Nerd Boy.
And by the way, someone did see it coming last week. But we have spam in chat. Someone on this podcast may have had Ravens plus 8.5 and Dolphins plus 13.5. Cash. So I think look, I'm not looking at anything that happened last week, right? Oh, once the D line once the O line for Cincinnati got hurt, like, the Bengals couldn't move the ball at all, right? They were, I think it was what Eric Weddle said, like, then we're going to score another point in that game, like, and that's why Buffalo is going to win this one. Like, yeah, I mean, I probably agree. Like, probably the Bengals weren't scoring again in that game, or maybe they got a field goal, but like, they were having a real tough time because they were already doing a decent enough job of getting pressure. There's a subtle movement. You guys noticed this in the game. Calais Campbell kept doing this subtle thing, like going from A to B. He kept going from A to B or B to A, right? He would, that subtle, like, right before the ball is going to get snapped, I'm going to make just one shift of the gap and screw your whole friggin' out. Like, and that's the kind of thing that happens in division matchups. I've played you 1,000 times. I know your protection. I know your rules, right? And I'm going to screw with your rules. Okay, Bengals Bills aren't going to have that, right? I mean, again, all the things that the Ravens did to get to Burrow, to rattle him a little bit, and certainly slow down their quick game. I don't think Buffalo's gonna be able to do those things. We talk about the Bengals offensive line and some of the problems they're gonna have, but we're gonna find out early in this football game whether or not that stuff's really gonna matter. And I think it for two reasons. Number one, Ace, you talked about coming out in this game and potentially trying to push the ball down the field, right? Don't let yourself get rattled, right? Don't play into the idea of, hey, we have a bad offensive line, we have to game plan around that. I do wonder, though, because you could tell once Jackson Carman went in the game, it's like game plan switch, like, we're going quick game now. We have to go quick game now. We can't screw with this. How much of that was the Ravens, and how much of that is just like, no, we've seen Jackson enough in practice. Like, we're going to go quick game here. We're going to go quick game because we feel like that's what we're going to win. And I think a couple things. So number one, do they want to go quick game early? Is that the game plan to go quick game, or are they going to try and run their normal stuff, try to push the ball a little bit down the field? And see, okay, can we hold up in those areas? And if we can't, then we got the quick game stuff ready to go to. Number two, you look at some of the problems the Bengals had in the playoffs last year. Look, no doubt about it, Joe Burrow was under fire a lot in the playoffs last year. It's why they ended up losing the Super Bowl. Obviously, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, what happened in the second half of that football game, we don't have to revisit it. But what I'll say is, I look at this Bills team, I look at this front four that they have, right, the pass rush attack that they have. Look, the Bengals had some issues in the playoffs last year. They didn't really necessarily have issues against teams that didn't have really all-world elite defensive line, elite pass rushers, right? You look at that Titans team and what they were able to bring with Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons, right? And the way they were able to attack and then be solid behind it. Obviously, the Rams, same thing with Von Miller and Aaron Donald and the way that they were able to attack that way. Look, I'm not going to sit here today and tell you that Gregory Rousseau is a bad player or that AJ Epinesa is a bad player, that Ed Oliver is a bad player, right? But I just don't think none of those guys rise to the level of anyone we just talked about. None of those guys are Jeffrey Simmons yet. None of those guys are Aaron Donald yet. None of those guys are Von Miller yet. And so the question is, who's really going to take over this game on that defensive line? Jeffrey Simmons took over that game against Tennessee, right? And if the Titans had Josh Allen, I mean, again, that's a booty beatdown a year ago, right? I mean, I think everyone would agree. If the Titans didn't have Ryan Tannehill, if they had a legit quarterback, okay, I mean, the Bengals put up a nice fight, but holy shit, I mean, it's just too much to ask for. I just don't think the Bills are going to get that kind of pressure in this football game. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see, can the Bills, can the Bengals make the quick game stuff work if that's their game plan? And do they even have to go to that stuff, right? And from the Bills on an offensive perspective, everyone goes like, oh, the turnovers with Josh Allen, and he's gonna screw it up, and look at all, and it's not even that, it's the inefficiency that they worked with. It was all boom or bust for that offense a week ago. Again, I think some of that was just Miami dependent. Now, I do think the Bengals will get a turnover in this game. I mean, I think because it's a playoff game and the Bengals are in it. That's how the Bengals defense is going to get a turnover. I mean, it's the Bengals defense in the playoffs. They will get a turnover. Period. End of story. They just do. I had this moment.
They do have.
No, I mean, like it was, it was like the Goofy meme last week. The Goofy meme. I'll do it again. Like that was when Logan Wilson knocks the ball out of Huntley's hands and it goes right to Sam Hubbard. I mean, I was Goofy. I'm like, they did it again. These guys, they did it again. I just couldn't believe it. I can't believe that every time this defense needs to make a huge play, we had another spam bot. Well, we're getting spam bots today. Every time they need to do it, man, they do. And so I do think that they'll get a turnover in this game. I think that's going to be short. But here's where I think, if I'm a Bengals fan, Josh Allen, his ability to get outside the pocket, you worry about in this game. We've talked all year about how well the Bengals have done defensively, overcoming some of the injuries they've had, right? This is a team that didn't have Awuzie for the entire second half of the season. We talked so much last year about how good he was, right? I mean, it's one of the reasons why we ranked the Bengals so highly in the cornerback rankings earlier this offseason. Is that ever going to come back to bite them in the ass? I mean, are they really just going to, again, we talked up to Awuzie so well, and I think it's a credit to Lou Anarumo. I think it's a credit to Cam Taylor-Britt. I think it's a credit to even Eli Apple himself, right? I mean, again, he got a little boom roasted last week, but it's a credit to everyone in that secondary room that it has not been a storyline whatsoever. The number one corner in the division a year ago, Chidobe Awuzie, from a statistical standpoint, has not played for this team in the second half of the season, and you would not know it from any of the results on the field. Now, I think that's a huge credit to Lou. Is this the game where potentially we feel that? I think it could potentially be, because you talk about bracketing Stephon Diggs. That means you're going to put Gabe Davis, who is a real speedster, who is their true taking over the top guy in one-on-one situations. Again, I think that could be an issue, but you could play a lot of too high. You could play a lot of
sauce on the field.
Yeah, you could play. You could play that. Or you could play just a lot of off stuff, because again, what Gabe Davis's game is not, kind of selling that 9 route and then playing off of it, right? I mean, his game really is the 9 route, or maybe he'll run like an 8 or something. I mean, again, this is not a guy who's kind of working off of that in off coverage, and really, you don't see Gabe Davis beating teams because they're playing him in soft coverage, and he's able to kind of pick them apart piece by piece. How many Gabe Davis 15 catch 100-yard games? Yeah, no, he has 4 catch 100-yard games, because that's who Gabe Davis is, right? And so. So I think the Bengals can certainly play it that way, right? We're going to play off coverage on Gabe and make him beat us all day. We're going to bracket him. Obviously, Dawson Knox, and that thing's going to be, the tight end over the middle. But again, we've talked on this show, Luke Wilson. Why am I calling him Luke Wilson? Logan Wilson. Thank you, and Davis Gaither as well. There's so many intriguing matchups Wilson on both sides of the ball. I called him Luke Wilson. My goodness. My brain is broken.
It's not in a shitty rom-com in 2008, dog.
Yeah. My brain's broken. No, so many good matchups on both sides of the ball, right? Can either team try to run the ball? Does either team try to run the ball? I think Joe Mixon and that the Bengals rushing attack has been a part of their success story, especially in the second half of the year, and how they started to exploit teams who wanted to just sit in too high all day. do they want to run the ball? And obviously, you're down 3 linemen. Can they run the ball in this game? Obviously, I think one of the big things for them in this game is if they're going to go quick game, we haven't seen it a lot recently, but like Jamar Chase did take like a wide receiver screen last year to the house in that Titans game. I mean, this is a guy who is not just, we think of Jamar Chase and the big plays that he makes down the football field. But he does a lot of good catching. I mean, this is a guy who can do some catch and run stuff as well. And that could be a big part of this football game. Obviously, getting the ball to the running back out of the backfield in a world where they're going to blitz a lot and you need to get quick. P. Ryan's had some big plays in the past. I mean, again, if this game is going to come down to, can the Bengals win a game where they're under heat all the time? I mean, I still think the answer to that question could, the answer to that question is not no. It's obviously it's harder for them, but they have Jamar Chase and his ability to make big plays out of nowhere. Same thing with Mixon, same thing with P. Ryan. Obviously, T should not be doubted. And then going over to the Bills secondary, I know they have Tre'Davious White back, but can we all just admit Tre'Davious White ain't Tre'Davious White anymore? I mean, it's almost like a no corners for old men situation in the NFL, where you look at some of the old corners in the league. I watch Xavier Howard, and it's like, that's not. I remember Xavier Howard. That doesn't look like Xavier Howard anymore. Like Jalen Ramsey, like I remember Jalen. That don't look like Jalen Ramsey. And you look at some of the guys who have just come into the leegue, guys like Sauce, guys like Tariq Woolen.
They played him in his slot. Like it's really not been the same for him. They really ruined him.
Well, I think it's one of those things where when you look at I don't think it's just that. I think it's the idea that we have so many good young receivers entering the league right now that it's almost like we have to put this artificial cap on. Like, look, man, you get to be up in your late 20s, early 30s, and like, guess what? The game's done past you by, kid, because like the wide receivers aren't made today like they were 5-10 years ago.
Well, and it's like, what does elite corner play look like in this era, though? Like, I think there's been a shift where like the rules have gotten to the point to where like the call tendencies on like pass interference and stuff have changed a little bit. So it's like, what does elite corner play even look like anymore? I think we're judging it like Jalen Ramsey was elite corner like 2014. That was probably like the last year where you could have like shutdown island like dude level corner level play. But like outside of that, it's kind of looked like, oh, you could cook Jalen Ramsey, but it's like, who can't you cook anymore? Like who's the guy
can't
that
cook?
Can't
I mean,
cooked?
Some of those young kids, man, you can't cook Sauce. Sauce didn't get cooked this year. Didn't.
But like it never came down to it with the Jets, though. Like that's the thing.
Sertan.
Sertan is another one you can't.
But with those guys, they were on teams but those guys were on teams that you could beat without having to try to like worry about that. So why even worry about that problem when it doesn't come up? Whereas like teams that have like actual problems that you have to attack, is like once you get to, okay, now we really got to figure out Jalen Ramsey, you can figure it out. I think that's with any guy. It just depends on what situation.
The Bills didn't have that this year, though. Not with Tre'Davious, right? I mean, like, I'm saying the Bills with Tre'Davious White. Like, I don't think Tre'Davious White looked like Tre'Davious White this year. And I know he's coming off of injury, but they've been kind of rotating through guys like Christian Benford and Dane Jackson, and like they've got a rotating cast at corner. But nevertheless, like you go back to that, the 9 minutes that got played of that Bengals game against the Bills, they were picking on Tre'Davious White. I think he got called for a PI on the first play of the game.
Tyler Boyd caught the touchdown on Tre'Davious White.
Yeah.
It was 9 minutes, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, yeah.
It's 9 minutes of a 45-minute game.
One of my favorite things, and not to rag on Bengals fans, but I'll do it a little bit. I have to because it's in my contract. What you guys don't know is I signed a contract here where it's like, I have to shit on Bengals fans a little bit. It is funny.
It's a good contract. It pays well. You know what I mean?
No, it's a lot of fun too. It's a lot of fun. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I do it for the love of the game, to be honest. So don't let them know that.
Look, Bengals fans do this thing where it's like we were going to go up 14-3. That game was going to be over. This is the same team that was down 21-3 to the that always loves to point out they were down 21-3 to the Chiefs and then came back in the second half of that game, right? I mean, again, I get what the Bengals fans are saying. We were in control of that game early. It did look like that. I agree with you. But I don't know that that's like you just draw a straight line between that and a win.
I also stopped watching that game in the third quarter. Mistake.
Oh, the yeah. Well, why?
Yeah. I was like, you know what? It was a fluke that they got the first one, and then the second one, now they're not getting that. And okay. Well, I was hating.
I won't say that it was a win, but I think Bengals fans seeing like how efficient the offense was, because there's other teams where we aren't that efficient. Like when we come out, it doesn't look like that. The way that they were moving the ball in that game was just like, whoa. I agree with you.
It would be confidence expiring.
But
it would be like, I understand why they have confidence, but like,
Yeah.
He's
So
also
here's okay. So let's go to my pick, right? Because I've been all over
Yeah.
yada yada.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked about all the matchups. Let's get to the pick, right? Let's get to the pick. All right, here's my pick. If DeMar Hamlin like runs out with the team in this game, if there's some kind of like DeMar Hamlin, or
don't hedge. Do not hedge.
I'm not hedging.
Win or loss.
If that happens, the Bills are going to win this game for sure. For sure, there's no doubt in my mind.
That's a
Like this is go back to like the Franco Harris thing, right? I mean, it's just like bigger than the game. No offense, Bengals fans, great run, but like if there's some like crazy intro, like DeMar's there and all that. I mean, obviously the atmosphere is going to be insane. No, they ran in their first home game after the DeMar thing. They ran the opening kick back for a touchdown. Hashtag NFL rigged. Okay, look it up.
Yeah, but didn't that almost lost that game?
Be there. We know he's gonna be there.
He's gonna be there.
I think I've even heard that they've got the 3 earrings, I think, or chains or whatever that Von Miller handed out. Von Miller also bought a Super Bowl trophy replica, by the way. So
he did. You heard that story? It's kind of a neat story where he does the whole like close your eyes, open them. This is what we're working for, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, that's like when Jason Terry got the Larry O'Brien tattooed on his bicep.
Yeah, this is a setup. That is not good. Not good.
Also, can we talk about one other thing?
Go ahead before we go super chat.
This whole thing about like they're selling the tickets to the AFC Championship game. They're selling the neutral site thing.
Yeah,
look,
that's
guys. You can go on the Bengals website right now. Go to Ticketmaster. Go buy a ticket right now for Bengals Jaguars AFC Championship game. You can do that. You can do that right now. And this is just how it works. I mean, I understand why
it's one thing when fans do that. It was hilarious watching Joe Mixon do that. Like, you know, Joe, like, you done got these tickets, dog. You had to get these tickets in advance. You got these tickets for your family. Like, it's disrespectful. Like Joe Mixon. But I will say, look, the disrespectful thing is that the NFL is playing up so much about how many we've sold so many tickets, right? But I don't. Again, that's not a slight at the Bengals.
That's crazy.
No,
they're selling. They're doing a PR campaign right now because they're going to have it's going to happen like in the next 3 years. They are going to have a neutral site championship.
Oh, I hate that.
That's horrible.
That's
horrible. That's horrible.
I'm a fan of it.
Well, you're not gonna. Don't worry, it doesn't apply. So don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. Okay, Tony. Okay. You know, they low, I go high.
You got nothing to worry about.
I go high.
You got nothing to worry about. You know what I mean? That was called we said the chance. You have to win. You actually have to win multiple playoff games for that to happen. So don't worry about that. You're good.
When's the last time you done it?
Way earlier, way earlier than you guys. So
you know what?
My brain's broken. I can't even have good comebacks today.
You can't. Froze. You're froze in the pocket. Sack. Coverage sack. Yeah. Let's go. Got him frazzled. Looking like Tony Romo out here.
I'm gonna do the same thing I did last year. I'm basically just gonna do the exact same thing I did last year on this show, which was I'm betting the Bengals in this one. 5.5 is too many points. I'm sorry. If the Bengals lose this football game, it will not be by more than 5.5. I mean, I just what is the equivalent of like I'm like booty beat down? No, you know what it is? You know what it is, Sonny? Lock of the week. Give me lock of the week. Bengals plus 5.5. AFC North Talk. Tony's lock of the week. I can't tell you how much. And look, whenever I feel like this, I'm like, it's a rat line. I know it's a rat line. Like this doesn't make any sense. What does Vegas know? But I think Vegas is so overrating this offensive line thing. They're so overrating that. The Bengals are going to be able to move the ball in this game. It's just going to be a question of can they score 30? Because I think the Bills are scoring 30. The Bills always score 30, by the way.
If Joe Burrow gets sacked like 9 times in this game, can we run back this audio?
If who gets sacked? Burrow?
Joe Burrow gets sacked.
You're gonna put it. The last time that happened, Q, he threw for 350 yards. Still.
Hey. That's dope. Joe Burrow's dope. I'm not denying. He's dope. But you're not beating the Bengals. You're not beating the Bills. You get sacked 9 times. Like you might beat the Raiders.
Josh Allen might throw 9 interceptions, dog. Who knows?
I'm picking the Bills to win.
He already threw his interceptions for this offseason.
That's my pick.
Okay.
Sorry.
Let's do some super chats. I know we have a slew of super chats here. And the first one is here you go. Tony. There is absolutely no shot you truly believe in your heart.
You gotta commit, dog. You gotta.
Why would I not? Why would I not? This is the 4th best offense in the second half of the year. If you go by DVOA, which is by the way, opponent adjusted in the second half of the year, the Steelers' offense in the second half of the year with Kenny Pickett at the helm, by the way, 10th best offense, opponent adjusted DVOA in the second half of the season. And by the way, in case I need to remind everyone, This is a guy who in back-to-back weeks, went to Baltimore, beat the Baltimore Ravens on a comeback touchdown, throwing dimes down the football field. And then the next week, I don't want to say he embarrassed Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson is an embarrassment as a quarterback right now in general. So you can't embarrass someone who's already an embarrassment. But Kenny Pickett went and outplayed 200.
See how he had it right now. He didn't want to. He want that to be evergreen. It's okay.
So, bang bang. I believe yes. I'm a hashtag Kenny guy.
Have the balls to rank Kenny Pickett above Deshaun Watson in the quarterback ranking. That's all I ask is that you stay consistent. You know, have the
I already told
balls.
you. What do you mean? We think I'm gonna put Kenny 6? I'm putting
balls.
Watson 5. So
yeah. It's all when we ain't officially ranking it. It's all fun and games. But I want you to do it for real.
I can't wait for the
offseason. You can't hedge away from it. Yeah. You can't. It already is the off season for us, Sonny. What are you talking about? You can't wait. It's here. It's here. I watched like 2 hours of XFL press conferences. I am in the off season. Okay, like I am there. So it's cool. Tony.
To join us.
Look, Tony, I understand. You know.
Yeah.
You're believing in Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
You're doing your bit.
We lost Ace.
Guess what? All fun things come to an end.
Look at this.
Or
Purdy,
fun things like Deshaun Watson never get started, but
Purdy doing better than Watson for 1/205th of the price.
Brock Purdy. The Steelers should have signed Kyle Shanahan as their OC. I don't know why they didn't do that. That was a real mistake of the offseason.
Terrell Williams here says all the media is talking about is the Bengals O-line, but they're ignoring that Allen got sacked 7 times, fumbled twice, lost 1, and threw 2 picks.
Okay, that's silly because again, but I will agree. I'll actually agree with. I'll defend Terrell, even though I disagree with his take. The Bills' offensive line is also not good. I mean, the Bills' offensive line is not good.
Exactly.
I mean, no, they're going to get pressure on Allen. Now, the problem is he's Josh Allen. He's hard to bring down. If they can get to him and they can actually bring him down, yeah, absolutely, it's going to change this game.
I just don't want the NFL to do the stupid roughing the passer penalties.
Well, hold on, wait. So Sonny, there's going to be incredible roughing the passer call. This is Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen. Dog, the league is going to make sure nobody breathes on these two guys. This is the financial stability of the league for the next 20 years is these two guys plus Patrick Mahomes. Like, are you kidding me? Yes, you're not even going to be able to bring these guys to the ground. Which is like, look, it is vicious to not be able to do that to Josh Allen.
Trey Hendrickson gets a pillow and a blanket and puts Josh down real nice, sings him a little lullaby on his way down. He'll be fine. That's all you got to do.
You can't even do the lullaby. The lullaby taunting. You hurt his feelings.
That's true. That's taunting. Maybe not. Maybe skip the lullaby.
No. Look, the NFL is not letting you hurt them at all. Like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen is like 90% of what their marketing is going to be. Like it's a wrap, dog. For any, I feel bad for Trey Henderson and Gregory Rousseau because like you better tiptoe once you get past your man and just grab them and hold them and hug them and not go down to the ground because the only way you're gonna get that sack is they call that play dead on forward momentum.
I like Romo when he first started at CBS, but especially after last week, he is awful. Allen could do no wrong comparing him to Michael Jordan and calling him Mr. January while throwing multiple interceptions.
He's Mr.
Unhealthy
January
love.
He can't get to February.
He has an unhealthy love of Josh Allen and like Patrick Mahomes. It is like it is uncomfortable watching Tony Romo call a game with any of those. Like, because you hear
he's phoned it in this year all year.
Like it is.
He's Shaquille O'Neal.
He's Shaq playing. Like, it is crazy. Like, Josh Allen threw that interception. He was like, oh, immediately. Oh, that's not on him. Oh, he didn't know that.
That guy was holding the receiver.
No. Gabe Davis ran the wrong route. I'm like, I bet it. Like, it's incredible. Like, the glaze that Tony Romo be giving both Josh Allen and Tony and Patrick Mahomes. And I know what he's rooting for. He wants to be in Atlanta next week to call that rematch. So Bengal fans, y'all gonna be tired of that man by the end of that game. Y'all gonna hate him because
would you go?
Nah, I think the ticket's gonna be too expensive for me to justify.
Yeah, they probably are.
The tickets are crazy right now.
We'll see
Okay,
though,
so-
because you live there, you can just get like that aftermarket scoop. See if somebody gets panic and desperate. I'll keep an eye out.
Wait till the last second. I always wait till the day before. I always tell people, if you're going to a game, wait till the day before the game. Buy the tickets on the day before the game, especially if you have.
And look,
you have an
Bengal
even number of
fans,
people.
I'm not hating on you. I'm just rooting for my local economy. You know what I mean? Like I want us to get that boom. That's what I'm doing. This is not hating on
I love
you.
that.
I'm just
I love
rooting for
that
the local
take.
economy. You know what I mean? I want small businesses in the Atlanta area to get a boom from
It's okay.
from Bengals and Chiefs.
We gonna save y'all from that traffic jam. You don't have to worry about traffic.
I don't drive. I don't take traffic. You know what I mean? I live in the city. I ain't worried about that. Ain't no problem. You know what I mean? They come on in. Hartfield Jackson right down there. You get to the stadium. I'll tell Bengals and I'll tell Bills and Chiefs fans exactly where you want to stay, certain points of the city. I'm ready to give y'all the guide because I need the boost to the local economy here. And it'll be a great television product. It's gonna be about half, it's gonna be like the bowl game, it's gonna be like the national championship game, but in the NFL. We should get a neutral site game at the Rose Bowl. That would be nice, right? Like 100,000 people at an NFL game, middle of the day. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? Do that.
Trevor Lawrence is sitting somewhere with it'd be ashamed if somebody just ruined that.
Now that would be the part that would disappoint me is if the Bengals lost, the Bills advance, and then Trevor Lawrence of all people advance. I'll be like, okay, this is enough. This Cinderella story has gone too far. But yeah, like that I would.
That was my pick, right?
At least the Bengals belong there. Like I'm gonna get a good game if the Bengals make the
Jaguars
championship.
+8. Do we both have Jaguars +8?
I would take Jags +8. For
Yeah,
sure.
Jags +8. It's
I'd
like too
take
many
that.
points. It's +9 by the way.
No,
Now. It's +9.
The
I told you to
Jaguars
get to double digits, Sonny. I told you. I said,
Tony.
The
The Jaguars are gonna get the living shit beat out of them.
Probably, but
they are gonna get demolished. Like that is gonna be
remember,
a
Doug
ass
Peterson
whooping
revenge
ass.
game. Doug Peterson revenge game.
Doug
Doug Peterson
Peterson.
revenge game.
Dog, it could be the Lord
revenge
himself in a revenge game versus that Chiefs.
And listen,
That Jaguars team has no hope.
I have Chiefs 10-1, so I'm a Chiefs guy. I may actually get the freaking pom poms out. As much as I joked about it last year. Like, I may actually be like, come home.
How many
This
units?
is gonna be. I hope this game is on a different day than the good games this week because that's just that's gonna be. When is that game? When is that massacre?
It's the first one. It's the shit game. They put it.
They just gonna get it out the way. There's
Saturday.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's normally where they put the people playing the Chiefs in the second round because I think the Browns played them at that round too. Right there.
I love. Did you guys see the stat that was floating around Twitter? Where it was like, this is the 6th year in a row that either the Jaguars or Chiefs has been in the AFC divisional round. It was like, okay.
Yes, that was hilarious.
I mean, one team's doing a lot of the work there.
It is true. Technically true.
Yeah.
Hey,
You've
Tony,
been dominated by the Chiefs and the Jaguars.
Yeah, it's just back and forth between those two.
Hey, Tony, if
It's Cavs Warriors all over again.
if TJ Watt didn't make the first team All Pro.
Oh, here we go. Well, listen, I'm glad that finally Myles Garrett could have a season out as TJ Watt's shadow, and he probably had 20 sacks this year, broke the sack record, going to win defensive player of the year.
Tony will be glad because I asked Zach Carter this last night because I asked for his top 5. He had Cam Hayward in there, and then his 5th one was TJ Watt, and I was like, "What about Myles Garrett?" And then he was like, I don't know if he was trolling or not, but he was like, has Myles Garrett ever had a 20-sack season? I was like, what are we doing here, dog?
All right,
Again,
Zach.
that's not hate, that's facts. Again, that's not hate, that's facts.
Look. Myles Garrett
say that he doesn't like the yellow people. He did say that. He did preface the Cam Hayward like, we don't like the yellow people in Cincinnati, but Cam Hayward's in his top 5, and so is TJ Watt.
Well, look, remember, Myles Garrett's never gotten to play with someone as good as Larry Ogunjobi with him. You know what I mean? So that's the thing with TJ. So he gets all the great looks because he plays with guys like Larry O.
Tony has been direct against the Browns in this show.
I didn't start that one.
It's okay.
That was a super chat.
Okay.
That was a super chat.
It's okay. Like, we all know that TJ Watt is soft at the end of the day. He is a soft human being. He's a very fragile person.
He had a
The
soft
question
22.5 last year.
isn't whether TJ Watt like is better than Myles Garrett. It's like, can TJ Watt stay healthy? Because honestly, he's low-key the Sam Bradford of edge rushers. You know what I mean? He's just never really available. He's not a big game player. Like, look at last year. When did he get most of those sacks for? When did he get most of those sacks for that got him into that defensive player of the year race in a meaningless game versus Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns?
No, it was meaningless.
You talk about a stat sheet stuffer, back end, garbage time filling guy. That is who TJ Watt is, who's also a coward because he doesn't even play on the strong side of the defensive line. He plays on the right side of the defensive line where guys don't have their best tackles because, again, he knows his limitations and he knows he's not good. So TJ Watt might be the best right edge rusher in all of football. But that just means you're probably like the 15th best pass rusher because the best guys play on the left side. The best guys play inside, outside, and the best guys
don't get 20 sacks a year. They're
what I mean. Look, TJ Watt got them.
Top 5 in defensive
TJ Watt got
playoffs,
22 sacks last year. Like Jameis Winston led the league in passing yards that one year. You know what I mean? Fluke. It don't matter. Fluke. Well, I know fluke when I see it. TJ Watt, just another guy.
I'm trying to remember Myles Garrett's postseason touchdown. Did he have one?
TJ Watt, not even the best white pass rusher in the AFC North. Shout out Trey Henderson. Much better player. He's a man who plays on the strong side of his line. That is a man. TJ Watt, coward. He leaves the hard work to Bud Dupree. He leaves the hard work to whoever, Alex Highsmith. He is a coward. He runs from the grind. He runs from the grind. He runs from the grind.
But Myles Garrett had 16 sacks this year. Pedestrian numbers, not even one a game. But who's counting? I do want to point out though that playing on the strong.
Well, he missed the game. He missed the game. I would like to point out because he flipped in the car. Only missed one game. 16 sacks in 16 games. I'm just saying,
let's not
Tony.
forget that about Myles Garrett. This man is a menace to society. This man has multiple times put himself and others in reckless danger.
You know what? When you're not soft, you tend to scare people. That's all I'm saying. And look, TJ Watt's a very comfortable guy. I would feel very comfortable around TJ Watt. Very non-threatening guy that TJ Watt is. And I don't know if you want that from a pass rusher, somebody who looks very non-threatening and very safe. You know what I mean? Because he's soft. He's soft. He would be a better fit as a swimmer than a pass rusher. That's what TJ Watt is. TJ Watt's a swimmer. Okay, I seen Cody Rhodes wrestle a whole match in a Hell in a Cell with the torn pec. John Cena won the Royal Rumble in 2008 in the garden. In the garden with the torn pec. In the garden. And you gonna tell me TJ Watt can't play against the Bears because he has a torn pec? He's a softie. He's a soft. He's a teddy bear, shaman, soft bum. He's a bum. He puts up good numbers against Texas Southwest, but he don't put up the numbers against the real teams. Soft.
Unbelievable.
Soft. TJ Watt gets one tackle for loss in the game, and he's like, oh, because he's a bum. He's a bum.
Okay, he plays on the ground. About the most meaningless sack.
He's a bum. That's what I'm saying. Myles Garrett overcomes the. Here's what I'm saying. Myles Garrett overcomes. Myles Garrett overcomes the pain and the mediocrity of the Cleveland Browns to be great.
Meaningless stacks. Meaningless stacks. They're all meaningless.
Meaningless stacks. That's TJ Watt's middle name. TJ Watt has not a single meaningful stat in his career.
It will be the first time.
TJ Watt has never had a meaningful stat in his entire life.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He had meaningless stats. You talk about a guy who was a bum
didn't help him clinch a playoff berth.
Before Mike Tomlin propped him up, he was another guy in Madison, Wisconsin. A bum, a softie.
How many times? Because remember, Myles Garrett played in a big game against Chad Henne, and he probably ruined Chad Henne, right? I mean, he wouldn't let Chad score some big touchdowns at the end of that game.
He got 2 sacks in that game. He got 2 sacks in that game. He got the tackles on the big guys. You know what I mean?
2 big sacks. 2 big sacks. And that was to help them propel themselves to that neutral site.
TJ Watt got 4 big sacks on Baker Mayfield. Congratulations, dog. You sacked Baker Mayfield. You and 300 other people in the NFL have sacked Baker Mayfield. Congratulations.
By the way.
Congratulations.
All those sacks. Both sitting on the couch. Get comfy.
Okay, so saying that, Tony,
this is all for fun and games, but Q and I are going to legit hate each other by September.
Okay, I put a poll.
I'm just saying.
It's out there.
Miles Garrett isn't soft like TJ Watt. That's it. That's
Miles
it. You know, mental toughness. The mental toughness for TJ Watt is not there. The mental toughness.
Got it.
The mental toughness is not there with
the mental
TJ
toughness
Watt.
to recklessly endanger you and everyone on that street that night.
TJ Watt, he doesn't have the
tough
clutch
over there,
gene.
Miles.
He doesn't have the clutch gene. He just doesn't have that it
That's right.
factor. You know what I mean? He doesn't have the it factor. He doesn't pass my eyeball test when I watch TJ Watt.
Well,
Now, let's wrap up. There's a poll out there that I'm gonna leave it up for
Max Crosby much better.
And there's another poll on
All Football
Twitter.
Focus thinks so too.
Okay, so there's two.
And we always trust them. We always trust them.
Okay, Q. Why you gonna put yourself on Tony's crazy level?
No. Here's what you don't understand, Leslie. I gotta make Tony even crazier. Okay, that's how you deal with Tony. Okay, you don't deal with Tony by being sane and answering his trolls sanely. You deal Tony by fighting fire with fire, which is okay. Yeah, you gonna go there. I'm gonna go there with something even more crazy. Okay, you're fighting Skip Bayless here. You don't fight Skip Bayless with facts.
Wow.
You fight Skip Bayless with Skip Bayless. That's what you're handling here, right? So when he
guys,
comes in,
it's come to my attention. We might need to renegotiate my contract now that I'm on the skip.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, you got 2 years left of your deal. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well,
You cannot.
You skipping Shannon now? Skill.
Okay, so
That was crazy that Skip really told Shannon Sharp, "Hey man, you're just a hater because you were never as good as Tom Brady."
That was crazy. That was crazy. Telling Shannon Sharp a Hall of Famer that
He's like,
insane.
"You weren't a Hall of Famer like him."
okay, what is the point in getting the FN?
I mean, you do get a bye.
Effing 1 seed.
Okay.
You get the bye. The bye is the biggest thing about the one.
Bye is the prize. No, like the home game, like that's nice and all, but like it's the bye. That's what
I don't like it.
It will be.
I don't
Look,
like it.
and I have a 10-1 for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. So, but I'll say this: like it's gonna be BS if the Chiefs just stroll through whoever they play next week and win the Super Bowl because they had a bye. I mean, again, they got gifted a bye that they probably wouldn't have had. So,
I agree.
kind of like TJ Watt got gifted 22 sacks.
They're gonna
Yeah,
make sure
gifted
that
him,
all of
gifted
these neutral sites are like warm weather places too, or in.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. They should have played it in Pittsburgh.
No, I'm all for it. Keep it in the South because when the Browns do get to the AFC Championship next year, I do want that game to be in Atlanta. Yes,
Mhm.
me.
Yeah,
When
It would benefit me.
when is your
local
Madden
economy,
career
of
starting
course.
up? You said is your Madden when is that?
You think
Oh
Madden's
my
really
God.
going to have a neutral site game built into it? Come on now. We've both been around Madden.
Yeah, you
long
can get a
enough to know
mod
they
for
ain't
it.
never
So get it for
really been a
PC.
game.
Get a mod for it. I'll help you.
Yeah,
I'll help you
okay.
out.
I'm not
Okay,
playing Madden
so
on a
Luis-
PC.
Luis Cousins here says there was a time where we thought Baker Mayfield was a franchise QB. Just saying.
Dog,
Tony.
they still think
Okay,
They still
but like,
think.
let's let it, again, let's let it play itself out. If he turns out to be Baker Mayfield and I'm wrong, I'll eat crow. I mean, again, what do I got to do? I got to wait for him to win the Super Bowl for all right, he's legit now.
So Terrell here says AFC Championship equals National Championship rematch.
Josh Allen ain't never played in no national championship. What you
Georgia
talking
TCU.
about?
Oh, I see. It's in the
Trevor
same- it's in the same-
Lawrence, Joe Burrow.
He's Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow. Yeah, Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen never played each other. That's who's going to be in the AFC Championship.
Great.
That's crazy when you think about it. The best two quarterbacks in the NFL were one of the best of like five quarterbacks in the NFL. Two of them were like not even that good in college. Like Pat was good, but like we weren't talking about Pat like that.
No.
And like Josh Allen in college, like legit bad. Like,
An afterthought.
at Wyoming, legit bad at Wyoming.
So Ray Rack here says, I know people might think Tony and Q are playing up their characters, but as someone who lives in the literal middle of Cleveland and Pittsburgh, these are the kind of arguments that actually happen.
Why do you think?
Look, I want to make one
going back
thing
and forth?
absolutely clear. I want to make one thing absolutely clear. I don't think TJ Watt is soft.
Mhm.
I think TJ Watt's a fraud. Okay,
Yeah,
that's all
okay.
I think. He's a fraud fooling you guys into thinking.
Well,
that he
I
actually
would call
plays
Myles
basketball.
Garrett. I would retort that Myles Garrett is also a fraud, but he hasn't even hit 20 sacks yet, so it's not. I mean, you actually have to be considered elite first before I consider you a fraud. elite to me is when
Who
you
has
get to
more
that 20
sacks?
mark.
Who has more sacks?
You know why Myles Garrett doesn't
In
get
their
20 sacks?
career,
Because
who
he's
has
not
more
selfish.
sacks? Sonny.
Well, Tony, he's not selfish like TJ Watt. TJ Watt likes to steal all the limelight. He likes to hide back there, right tackle, and eat up other people's sacks. Like that's just what Myles Garrett shares the wealth. He's much less selfish, and he's a better human overall than TJ Watt.
Better human. That's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah. Undisputed. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he makes less mistakes off the field. He is
he's
never
nominated
lost
for
his
Walter
temper.
Payton Man of the Year this year, right? He is. He's Man of the Year for that car accident.
You know what? Like it would be like giving Jordan the MVP in like 98. It's like why? You know what I mean? We all know that he's the best player in the league. So let somebody else, let some other young buck get that shine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Again, this is not a selfish man out to gobble up all the awards like TJ Watt is. I know TJ Watt's very selfish and he wants all those campaigns and all that credit because he has to feed his ego. But Myles isn't about his ego. He's about what makes his teammates feel good too. And I think that should be accounted for. Because TJ Watt, I've heard from sources, legit asshole. I'm just saying.
Okay, so before we go,
but I saw him at a casino once. He's a legit gambler too, so he's him,
so he has a problem. He's an addict, is what you're telling me. Oh wow,
we can stop anytime
TJ
you want.
Watt.
What are you talking about?
TJ Watt, asshole, addict, and self-loving, just a terrible person. But if you want to have your kids wear that jersey, that's on you.
Okay, so finishing this up, I put the poll out there. What do you think was the results, Tony? Now we have one on Twitter. That's gonna go for a day. We have one on Twitter. Go vote
right here in chat today, probably 65% Myles.
What do you think? Trade Logan Wilson.
Oh, you're talking about me, but it's Oh no. I know how these people are. They hate me more than they hate the Browns. So they're gonna go 70% TJ Watt on this one.
Oh,
but I have seen what you have. Hold on. What's the results?
66% Myles over.
I mean, I know I'm in your head, chat. I mean, can you guys have a unique thought once in your lives? I mean, my God, chat, you guys are like so predictable. Have a unique
when you talk about unique thought, the whole media apparatus wants you to believe that TJ Watt is something that he's not. Only person telling the truth about TJ Watt's right here on this podcast, Quincy Carrier. Yeah. You can follow me at Quincy. You can follow me at Quinn_C if you want to hear more truth about kickers and TJ Watt, the two biggest frauds in football. You want it? You want that real deal truth? You know where to get it. This proves it once and for all. It's settled. Debate's done. We're never arguing it again. Myles Garrett over TJ Watt. That's the first ranking for the position rankings that we're going to go to. Thank you. Good night. 95, more than 90. What a bum. Tragic. We should rank them by which side that they play on next time instead of just edge rushers. Because again, he plays against the second best. He's just kind of scary like that. That's all I'm saying. Myles better. LOL.
By the way, there's a poll on Twitter, on AFC North Talk. Go check them out. Myles Garrett versus TJ. It's running until tomorrow. Go vote. Thank y'all for watching. We will see you next time.
It's the offseason. Steelers fans don't show up in the offseason. They